And eventually we will appear. I think I put too long of a fade on that. What happened to Joe? He was here and now he's gone.
Oh, he'll be back in a second.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a. There he is.
Every time you guys play the video at the beginning, it knocks my sound out. And it's just because I'm on my iPad. That's the only time it does.
Stop it.
I didn't do it.
Stop it. Stop doing that. I'm yelling at Martin.
I thought you meant Amelia because she's going into Rocket Kitty mode here.
You know, nothing that a BB won't take care of.
Oh, my God.
I actually bought.
I'm with a
I say
monster.
mean things. I would never shoot a cat. I love cats.
I know.
I bought a BB gun because our next door neighbor's pit bulls like to jump the fence. That's why I bought one. Those big ass dogs can take a BB, no problem.
Yeah, they got leather for skin.
Right.
But anyway, good morning. It's Monday, and we're here to talk about the classic World War II film that was shot in 1975, released in 76, with the big gimmick of sense around.
Sense around, baby.
Yeah.
Brought in the big ass bass speakers to rattle your chair with. Yeah.
And I had broken a tooth and had to have it extracted that day that the movie opened. And my dad, to make me feel better, because how old was I in 76? I was 12. I was 12. And he took me to go see the movie at the first showing that night. And boy, I got to tell you, that was great. You could feel the explosions and you just feel everything happening in the film.
And it was loud as hell.
Oh, it's loud as shit with those speakers. Way before they had, Dolby.
Right.
You know, it was about gimmicks. And I don't know. I really liked the film a lot when I was a kid, when I was 12. And then when I saw it later, I had problems with it. And I still have problems with it. Watching it again this week, I had some problems with it. I like the fact, though, that do integrate actual combat footage.
That's what I always remember about the movie.
They cut their budget by so much by not only doing that, but a lot of the combat footage wasn't actually shot for that movie. There was a lot of additional footage taken from another film. Tora was used in it.
Yeah, some of it looked a lot.
And I think there was stuff from other films, but at least they got the damn planes correct. They used, I don't think they used the one torpedo plane, but American torpedo plane, but they used the Dauntless in the film and the Hellcat, which are awesome planes. Hellcat's sort of the escort plane, and basically the Dauntless was our little light bomber. And I like the film a lot. I do. But what pissed me off was when I discovered that Heston's character and Edward Albert's character, because Edward Albert, who plays Heston's son, is Eddie Albert's son. You all know him from Green Acres and Rum and Holiday, too, a great film. And Eddie's son plays part of Heston's son in the film. And their characters and their story are completely contrived. The other thing that when I watched it this time, I was like, why didn't they do and follow what they did with Tora and shoot the film with the Japanese actors speaking Japanese?
Yeah.
And just have subtitles. I felt that would have been so much better. I didn't like it. They hired Japanese American actors, but then they hired Toshiro Mifune, who spoke not one word of English. He learned his lines phonetically, how to say his lines. The problem was when they did early audience tests with it, nobody could understand a damn thing he said.
Mm-hmm.
He tried, though. You have to give him that.
Oh, he did, because he's saying the words, but his thing was he would go before or after a word, and so therefore you had trouble understanding what the hell he was saying.
Dude, in the 90s, there was this Japanese band of Latin American music salsa to be precise, and they were calling the orchestra of light, but in Spanish, la orquesta de la luz, and neither of them speak Spanish. They all memorized the sounds of the word, and their pronunciation was awesome. Nobody believed they didn't speak Spanish.
Well, I'm going
That's-
to put this. I'm going to put this little graphic up because I made this last night just so you guys can see what I was about to tell you. Here it is. 1976 trivia. Toshiro Mifune, who starred as Admiral Yamamoto, had to learn his lines phonetically as he spoke no English, but it was for naught, as his accent was so thick that audiences couldn't understand him. So the producers hired American actor Paul Frees, best known for he was one of the scientists in the 1951 film The Thing, as well as villains on shows like Underdog and other cartoons. He pretty much became a voice actor in the 60s.
Mhm.
And he voiced Toshiro Mifune. And for those of you who are Toshiro Mifune fans like myself, it's unnerving.
Yeah.
It really is. And I kind of wish there was a director's cut
So yeah, so you could hear his accent.
so we could hear the original Toshiro Mifune. But all the other actors were, Japanese actors that lived and worked in the United States on television and film.
Yeah,
And,
even
and
Pat
you would
Morita.
recognize him. Like Pat Morita's in it. That's right. You know. And and Pat, as I recall, was a veteran for the American military. And a lot of the people in the film, almost every single, and to my knowledge, every single major star in the film was a military veteran of either World War II or Korea. And Glenn Ford, who's in it, is not only an ass-kicking soldier. He served in World War II, skipped Korea, but then served 2 tours in Vietnam.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that about Glenn Ford. He was a badass. He played, cowboys, detectives, and shit like that, and just a likable,
Man,
affable
I
actor.
I don't remember Glenn Ford in this movie.
Yeah, he's the captain of one of the ships.
Oh, because
And,
I was hunting. The one for I was hunting was Tom Selleck. When I saw it in the credit, Tom
Yeah,
Selleck,
he's in
where
the battle on Midway Island.
Mhm.
And I was also always disappointed that they didn't point out that a major person on that island, not fighting, but filming, was John Ford.
Mhm.
yeah,
And,
that should have been in.
and we're going to watch that short film first here. That John Ford, it's his film. What's interesting is when you hear the first male voice actor, you know who that is? Anima knows who it is. Who is it? I told you. You forgot already. You forgot already.
She's just ignoring you.
I've slept since then. It's Henry Fonda who's in the movie.
Oh,
Wow. There you go.
Henry Fonda had already, they knew each other because Henry Fonda was already a movie actor. He was in The Grapes of Wrath and shit like that. And John Ford's last movie was How Green Is Your Valley. They knew each other very well. They worked together. And they would make a great film together later. I just forgot the name of it. It's Ensign Pulver with Jack Lemmon. What's the name of that film? Oh my God. Henry Fonda is the XO, and James Cagney is the captain of the ship. And he's got a palm tree, and somebody keeps throwing it overboard. And so he has to chain it down so nobody will throw it overboard. It's a really funny film. And Mr. Roberts, that was it. Henry Fonda plays Mr. Roberts. And it's a great film, but it led to the end of their friendship because they'd worked. They did, what was it? She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. They did, I think, 3 major films together. And the last one was Mr. Roberts. And Henry lipped off to him one day, and I think he was just either cranky or had too much to drink, and he fucking plowed Fonda in the face. Just knocked the shit out of him.
Oops.
And he was kind of fired. Even though it's his name's still on the film, he kind of got fired over that. And it ended their friendship. But,
yeah.
I mean,
wonder why.
Henry did forgive him. They did talk, and they buried the hatchet, but they never worked together again. Because that's a hefty betrayal to do something like that to an actor. And it's hard to believe how much John Wayne put up with, because he was emotionally and psychologically abusive to John Wayne. John Wayne was talked to like a child all the way until he stopped making film. And the way he shit on him over his movie, The Alamo, he just shit all over John Wayne for that movie. He was not a really very likable person. Even though he was loved, he was not liked because he was just too cranky. But anyway, Henry Fonda was the voiceover actor for that short film we're about to watch. And it is the first Midway film. And it is the actual footage that he shot on the island as well as on the ship. And he took a famous photograph of one of the battle cruisers from the deck, showing the guns going off. And
He also got injured doing
he
that.
damn near got killed. Yes, he got wounded during Midway. Kept going. He was a tough hombre. And a lot of people, make the mistake that it was combat that cost him his eye. And it wasn't. He lost the eye to an illness and an infection. But after, World War II, he's best known because he had that black patch over his eye. And then he put the glasses over top of the patch. Still weird. If you see photos of him, it's weird. But the first film, Midway, shot in 1942, June 1942, when the battle took place. And
tell me when you want it.
It was a decisive battle because up to this point, we weren't sure what we could do. We had already sent planes over with Billy Mitchell to bomb the shit out of Tokyo. And it was a one-way mission because all the planes had to scrap. And, they had to scrap in China, crash either in the ocean or on land because they didn't have enough fuel to make it back to port or to, one of the ships or to an airport there in China, airfields.
And that mission was depicted on the movie.
Well, I'm going to talk
Pearl
about
Harbor.
It's in every film from that talks about that period. It's in the new Midway, and it is best known for its own film with Spencer Tracy called 30 Seconds Over Tokyo.
Yep.
And there's some really cool events that are shown in that film that a lot of people think was a mistake in the film, but no, it actually happened the way they show it in the film. It's a pretty accurate film. And in December, we're going to do a Memorial World War II month, and we're going to do all Mondays in December. We're going to show World War II movies, and we're going to start with Pearl Harbor with Tora Tora Tora. I will never watch the movie Pearl Harbor on here. You've got my word.
You shocked me there for a moment.
And as wonderful, just stop. I got so frustrated with you about that last night. The name of the battle is Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, but we're talking movie
It's not just the
all
movie;
time.
it's the name of what it is.
I know
Pearl
that.
Harbor. So, if I'm going to talk about Pearl Harbor, I'm going to only talk about the movie Tora Tora Tora. It is the best one. But they show in the new Midway film that Roland Emmerich made. It shows Pearl Harbor at the beginning too. So we're going to watch that film next because, of course, not next. We're going to watch 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, and then we're going to watch that film. And then I'm probably going to watch the classic John Wayne film, Iwo Jima.
Sands of Iwo Jima.
Sands of Iwo Jima. Even though John Wayne didn't serve a goddamn day in his life, he was 4F. Right. He was 4F. Punctured eardrum. And then, he was given a pass because he was also the sole bread earner for his family. And I'm like, that's a piss poor excuse for not serving because you still get a paycheck in the military. But the risk of dying is too high. But I'm like he could have done like a whole lot of other actors and served in the film corps and made Army films for the U.S. Army. A lot of actors never saw a damn moment of action. Leonard Nimoy, he, volunteered for the military, went into film corps, never saw any action. And as much as I love Clint Eastwood, he served too. But what was he? Do you know what he was? Do you guys know what Clint Eastwood was? He was a lifeguard in the Army.
Then you got the other side of the coin with Jimmy Stewart and Clark Gable.
Yeah, opposite. Yeah, of Clark Gable and Jimmy Stewart. Clark Gable was a pilot. Okay, and he decided one day he wanted to try to see what it was like to be a waist gunner. So he went back there during one battle, and a reporter got a hold of him. He says, "Yeah," he was shook up. He said, "I'll never do that again. Never do that again." That was insanity. You know how those guys survived some of those battles. You know, up there in the air during bombing missions. Crazy shit.
Yeah, I think that every time we see action scenes like that, that's just crazy.
There's a reason why they call that plane the Flying Fortress.
Yep. And it was. But the two scariest positions would be not the ball gunner, not the top turret. Waist gunner is number 2. The number 1 scariest position
Tail
on
gunner.
a B-17 is tail gunner. Because they would get the shit shot out of them. And they were isolated. They had to crawl through a tube to get back into the plane. And you'll see scenes like where a plane gets cut in half and you see the tail flipping down, and there's a guy in there that if he's still alive, he's watching his death spinning as he's heading towards the ground. But there's a story of one tail gunner from World War II that happened to. He survived. It's a hell of a story. I'll tell it sometime. The whole
My
story.
favorite story about a tail gunner is Roland, the headless Thompson gunner.
Thompson gunner. Yeah.
Yes.
Great song.
Yes.
But let's get the 1942 film queued up and let's start watching. Who's all here, by the way?
Tim
Tim
just
is
said
here.
the same thing I did.
I see Tim. Yeah, Tim was the one who requested this.
He just mentioned the same thing I did about John Wayne.
Yes, and thank you, Tim, for requesting.
Yep.
Let's see. And Penny is here. And that's it. Nobody else is here. Well, 6 people are watching. And
Speak up, guys.
now Zeno is the people who took this film and the original copy of it and cleaned it up. So I wanted to leave their name and stuff on here. Because and that of course is the PBY.
Yep.
My Uncle Bud flew one over the Pacific.
That is
and
patrol
his-
bomber for you non-military folks.
Yeah, and that baby had 2 types of missions. It was either hunt and destroy, where it was looking for subs or ships, and it would drop, torpedoes and depth charges. And
They are so cool.
the other
because
job
they
that
can
they
land on
had were
water and on runways.
and the other job
Well-
they
I
had
think
was
that's impressive.
rescuing downed pilots or sailors with sank ships.
Mhm.
Hey, Mark, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I got pictures.
I like this
of,
part. That here are the local residents of Midway Island, and
Right.
of course, Tojo. They call him Tojo in the subtitles, and that was the name that was given to the Japanese during World War II. And but they're coming to liberate the seagulls.
Right. We used to get them on Johnson Island too.
In the narration. And but the first voice actor, not the narrator, but the first voice actor is Henry Fonda, which I thought was neat. And he was in the service too. He ended up serving in the OSS in Europe. He did, he saw a lot of close quarter hand-to-hand combat. He sort of was like Christopher Lee, but for the United States. So he knew what it sounded like to stab a man.
We just had the subtitle where they are called Flying Fortresses.
Yep. And this is the first film to really talk about it too, by the way. The Flying Fortress was sort of a new thing for this war, and it was being touted, and it was produced by Boeing, hence the B-17, Boeing 17. And it was a beast. It went through some modifications right off the get-go, and it changed some of the armament on it. you'll notice in that shot, as I recall, that's the bomb section. It doesn't actually have, there's no ball turret on the bottom on the early B-17s.
I was fixing to say, I thought
Those
they
were added later.
on there.
Mm-hmm. They're added because the Messerschmitts were coming up.
From underneath.
Yeah, from underneath. And so they put the belly gunner down there, the ball gunner.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see how those guys would get into that ball, that's got to be one of the most uncomfortable seats, the way they designed it. Because you're not actually sitting upright aiming the weapon. You're laying on your back and looking down the weapon.
Yep.
It's between your feet. And the feet were what controlled the movement of the ball turret. And they would control the movement with their feet, and they would fire the weapons with their hands.
That sounds like a job.
It took some training getting used to that shit.
Oh, and those balls got jammed a lot.
Now that's the flak. You'll always hear me refer to it, and this is low altitude flak. This is from the 20 millimeter flak guns, and they're having low altitude bursts, short bursts.
Yeah, but to go back to
Because
the
the
ball
planes-
gunners, a lot of times shrapnel and stuff would lock them up, and they would be stuck in there and have to get cut out when the plane came back.
Ugh. That would suck.
Yeah. And more than one of the belly gunners died because the landing gear failed when the plane came back.
Ooh, no.
And there's also a great episode of Spielberg's series, Amazing Stories, where the ball gunner was going to die.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was an artist, so he drew wheels on the plane, and miraculously,
His cartoon wheels come
it
out.
got cartoon wheels, and they landed. And then right after he gets out of the ball turret, it collapses. The wheels disappear.
Wow.
What?
But you are correct, by the way. It is the Bomber 17, but it was still produced by Boeing. But
Yeah, I always thought B stood for bomber.
it did.
Yeah.
And here we're going to get to see some of the planes that were used in the battle. And I forget the name of the other bomber torpedo plane. I'm going to go look it up real quick. Because the main thing you see in the battle, and again, he shot all this footage too on the ship.
I was fixing to say, I've seen that shot several times in different shows. No, I have.
Hey, that man walking. Long time no see. Good to have you back.
Dad Man Walking. The hero of Fortnite.
There it is. It's the Douglas Devastator
Mm-hmm.
that was used too, and
For the
sometimes
name.
you'll get confused when you see it, because just like the Dauntless, it was a two-man plane.
Yeah.
And the big difference was the length of the cockpit. The longer cockpit was the Devastator. But in the movie Midway, 1976, you'll see Tom Selleck plays one of the Marines.
Wow. He must have been a kid when this movie was made.
It's kind of weird. No, he was only a year or two before he appeared. No,
That's right.
yeah, it was 2 years
This
before
was
he
in the
appeared
later
on
70s
Rockford Files, and he played a character that would lead to him playing Magnum PI.
Yeah, this was 76, you said?
Yeah, this is 76. It was shot in 75, though.
Yeah, I guess he was middle-aged.
Make a note of that, the Conqueror.
I'm making it.
I'm not sure. I will not enjoy it because I don't like that movie. I'll tell you now. That's the movie with John Wayne playing Genghis Khan. And it also costs a lot of people their lives. So I will probably do it for that historical reason.
Right.
Not a fan of the film. I don't think it's a very good film.
John Wayne is Genghis Khan. Talk about miscasting.
Or as some overly educated people would say, Genghis Khan. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Genghis.
Yeah, that was a blow at me. Thank you for that.
Oh, Europeans, I don't care what Europeans say. I'm talking about people in America. They annoy me when they do that shit. You know, I consider people like that pretentious as fuck. Americans that try to pronounce things the way other people do overseas. It's like,
The
shut
correct
the
way?
fuck up.
Yeah,
Correct
there's nothing
You
pronunciation?
guys can say it all you fucking want to. We're Americans. We're Americans. We say things a certain way, and we don't fucking care.
Yeah, and if you're from Boston, you pack your candy yard. So
Fucking John Kerry is a cocksucker. Sorry.
The rest of the
He's a
world
lying
needs
sack of
wars.
shit. He fragged himself and managed to get himself a purple fucking heart for it.
he's retarded.
What?
Yep.
He's retarded.
Don't like him. Don't like him. Don't respect him. He'll be looking. He had his own personal security while in Vietnam. Yeah. God, what a fucking douche nozzle.
It's amazing what being rich can do for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
right.
something else, isn't it?
By the way, I don't know if we caught it. But there's actually a shot, and you got to see the early version of the PT boats. Because they had PT boats there on Midway.
Wow.
But on Midway, you had two things. You had Marine Corps and Navy. This was a Navy-Marine Corps battle. And we outwitted the Japanese. We tricked them.
By breaking
And
the code.
we had already done, like I said, Japan felt like we couldn't touch them because they destroyed our fleet at Pearl Harbor. And we proved them wrong when Billy Mitchell did what he did and took his planes out.
Yeah.
And did that bombing mission. It's practically a suicide mission because they were kind of told that this is kind of a suicide mission, but we're going to teach Japan we can fucking touch you. We're going to come to your home.
Did any of the guys?
We're going to shoot you in your fucking shit house.
Did any of the guys make it back from that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of guys who made it. Like I said, they ditched. They had to ditch. The ones that got lucky were the ones who ditched either out in the ocean where they could be found or ditched in China.
Yeah.
Even though China was occupied by Japan, we still had a lot of allies there that were helping.
I was like to say, there's no love lost there.
They actually show that at what happened. They show it in that stupid movie Pearl Harbor. And I've said many a time, I would love to see a fan edit that takes out the love story and the bullshit story
Oh, yes,
and
please.
just focuses on the battle and the events that happen, the actual events.
Now,
Because
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character,
it is
that was a
very,
right?
very accurate when it comes to that. But when it gets to telling the story shit, it's all bullshit and it's stupid.
Yeah.
I hate that movie because it's just dumb. The love story, the love
The
triangle.
love story is dumb.
Just
Yes.
fucking stupid.
I got
And the
so
two
annoyed
real
when I
pilots, there were
watched it.
actually two real pilots that went up that day in Flying Tigers. They were the only two that got in the air.
Yeah.
And so to pick that in the film and have it fictional characters was shitting on history. And it pissed me off that they did that.
Prior to Pearl Harbor,
That was
Japan
Michael
was-
Bay.
Yeah. Michael Bay. Yeah.
anyway, prior to Pearl Harbor, Japan was sending overtures about, oh, we're not going to attack you. We're going to be friends. So they sent these things called friendship medals over.
Yeah.
Well, Billy Mitchell wired these friendship medals to all the bombs to send them back to him.
Well, a lot of people don't remember is that Billy Mitchell, the guy who commanded the mission, is the same person who he was put on trial by the military because he alleged in 1925 that the next attack would be in Pearl Harbor by the Japanese. He predicted it in 1925, and he's court-martialed for it.
Wow.
They suspended him from active duty for 5 years without pay, but President Coolidge later reduced it to reduced pay instead of no pay. But Mitchell, he took a beating over that, and then he was fucking right.
Mark Hartness saying it's Jimmy Doolittle and not
Yeah, Jimmy
General.
Doolittle.
Yeah,
Mitchell's the one who got court-martialed, and Jimmy Doolittle.
yeah, was the one.
You're right.
It's the Little Raid.
And Spencer Tracy played him, as I recall, right? In the movie.
I don't know. I can tell you this, though. If you're ever out in Hawaii, do not miss the Arizona Monument. Do not miss that. That is very cool. It's got a glass floor. You can actually see the boat.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Now, this film is fairly accurate with its depiction of the battles. Like I said, the only fictional aspect of this is the Charlton Heston character is completely made up. He's not based on any person, not even loosely, and his son. It was put in there purely for dramatic purposes. Again, some of this footage is not actual war footage, but footage from other movies.
Mm-hmm.
They felt they needed a love story. That's the only explanation I have for that.
Well, I think that was done actually for politics. I think it was done because they wanted to have something in there about the Japanese internment during World War II.
That too.
So his son is in love with a Japanese girl. Bet you have a problem with that, Dad. The whole stupid drama of that.
She claims to be American, though.
She is American.
Yeah.
Japanese American.
Yeah.
Or American Japanese. It should be, if you're going to hyphenate, it should be American, whatever you are.
I just saw Tom Selleck's name.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck got his credit. He's in here. And hopefully he gets captured in this. Because his scenes are not much, but he is in the ground battle. It's a few close-ups.
He appears like 3 times in the whole movie. And
again, right now they're showing from the movie 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. This is all footage from that movie. And then we cut to the Japanese, and I think this is the Friendship Medal. Oh, no. This is when he reports to, is it Yamamoto? I think he's reporting to Yamamoto.
Man,
Yeah,
every time you say that guy's name, all I can see is
the ship.
Star Blazers. That's
Yeah.
all I can see.
And what people don't know is there is actually a ship in the Japanese Imperial Navy called the Yamamoto. And it was
Yamato.
like the largest ship of its kind. And on its maiden battle voyage, it sank.
Yep.
It was not very well made.
But in anime lore, they turned it into a ship that saved the world. Yeah, man. Star Blazers. Anybody who's a fan knows what I'm talking about. The Yamamoto.
Or better call...
and the Black Tiger Squadron. Yes.
That is
Yeah.
Battleship Yamato is what
Yeah.
they're talking about. Man, the guy who plays Watanabe, I look at that. That guy has to be huge. He looks like he's in a toy car.
Oh, Heston. Well, look,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yes.
tell you something. A lot of people think that the Jeep is big. It's not.
It's
the
not
Willys
a
Jeep.
vehicle.
The
I
Willys
look-
Jeep is
No,
a
no.
small vehicle. I've been in it.
That's still not a Jeep. That's still a Willys.
Yeah, it's a Willys Jeep.
It's a Jeep.
Yeah, Jeep
It's still
stands for
Jeep.
general purpose. That's where
Yeah.
the name came from.
And there was a time when Jeeps meant something because they were bastardized cars. They were made from spare parts of other vehicles. And it wasn't until the 1990s that Jeep began producing their own parts.
Look
It was the late
at
1980s.
this.
Did Hal
Mark
Holbrook ever look
Mark
young?
Hartness is making your dream come true. He's editing Pearl Harbor and taking
Oh.
away.
Do it, dude. Take all the bullshit drama, dude. I would love that. Now we see Hal Holbrook. Now Holbrook is playing what is his name? He's the guy who broke the code, his team.
Right.
I forget his freaking name.
That's right, Adrian. Yes.
I'm going to look it up real quick because it's driving me
Oh,
crazy. Roquefort. Roquefort was the guy in charge that broke the code. But here's the irony of it. They only broke 1 out of every 10 words. So, and this is where the fictional character of Heston's talking to him, and he's like, so you're guessing. And in reality, that's what they weren't guessing, they were guesstimating what was being said. And they were correct. Yeah, and the Musashi, of course, is named after Miyamoto Musashi, the great samurai, who brought about the two-sword technique, who Toshiro Mifune is famous for playing in the samurai trilogy about Musashi. But the Yamato it's been said that it was a dressed-up ship that had no backbone. That's why it sank so quickly. Yes, Boris Badenov. That's right. I love Paul Frees. I love his voice. He had that deep voice. But I got to tell you, any fan of Toshiro Mifune watching this movie, any scene with him, it really fucking throws you. Because you see he's saying the words, and then you hear Paul Frees' voice, and it's really weird. And Paul Frees is trying to make him sound Japanese, and it's just not very good. It's terrible. All the other actors are American actors who are Japanese. And a handful of them actually served in World War II and Korea. Now, Mifune did serve too, but he served for the Imperial Air Force for Japan. He was conscripted from China because that's where his family were Christian missionaries. And he was a photographer by trade. And so in the military, there's Edward Albert, Albert's son.
Yep.
And his career took off in the 70s, and he had some stuff all the way up into the 80s, and then he disappeared. It's almost like James Whitmore Jr., who had a career in the 70s and 80s. You'd see him in things like Magnum P.I., and then they ended up working behind the camera. And Whitmore still works behind the camera. He's still a director. Since I saw the movie in the theater in 76, and yeah, that's right, Sense Around. I love that, man. I was 12 years old, and I just had a tooth extracted. I had a terrible, terrible throbbing pain from it. And this movie took my mind off of it. It really did.
Hell yeah, made that shit go away. You're too worried about your ears.
Here we go. Here's the big drama scene. I've fallen in love with a Japanese girl. That piss you off, Dad? He's so snotty in this scene. He's like, why would I be upset over that? All I want is you to be happy. You know, it's such a fucking bullshit scene. And of course, she's having problems because she's Japanese.
He was in quite a few movies around that time and then just disappeared. What happened to him?
Edward?
Yeah.
I do believe he became a producer. I'm going to go look real quick. By the way, another famous actor is in this movie, and you narrowly notice him, is James Coburn, plays the part of Captain Vinton Maddox.
Yeah.
But Glenn Ford plays, I'm sorry, he didn't play Captain, he Rear Admiral Raymond Spruance. And he's a real character. But like I said, every single main actor in this film that plays a real person in it, except for Heston. Heston is a veteran too. He served in World War II. But Edward, he didn't serve. Not that I'm aware of. He was an actor's son. Cliff Robertson's in it too. He has a bit part in it. You'll see him early in the film. Everybody knows him better as Uncle Ben in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man film.
Yeah, but he was in a lot.
Yeah. Robert Wagner's in it. He was a Marine. He was a medic.
Yep.
And just a lot of Robert Mitchum has a bit part in it as Halsey. He's a veteran.
A lot of big name actors in it, man. No doubt.
And a little cool trivia about Robert Mitchum, because I'm a big fan of Mitchum.
Yeah.
I'm a bigger fan of Mitchum than I am of John Wayne. Yeah. Because Mitchum was the real deal.
He seemed like more of a tough guy to me than John.
Was a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
He took no shit off anybody. And had been in quite a few fights. Scraps, we'll say. Scraps. And but he served in the war, but he also had eidetic memory.
Oh, shoot. Couldn't
And
get
his
nothing past that
version,
guy.
there are different versions of it. And his is anything he reads, he remembers and never forgets. And he would read a script one time and have it memorized, everybody's lines. And it made him, as an actor, it made him better because it allowed him more freedom to do what he would do, of exploring how to deliver dialogue. But this film, there's another PBY. I love those planes. They really are handsome.
PBYs are cool as shit. Yep.
And like I said, my cousin Bud flew one, and my uncle Bud, 2 Buds in my family, was a pilot too, and he flew a B-17. Now the big difference is when cousin Bud came home, he didn't do anything. But when Uncle Bud came home, he buzzed our hometown with his B-17. Got in trouble for it, but he didn't care. He wanted to let everybody know he was home.
The PBY is the plane that Quint is talking about when he was the most scared in that Indianapolis.
There's Robert Wagner, by the way, in the middle. That's Henry Fonda in the front right. And he was a badass in World War II. And in real life, he and Jimmy Stewart were best friends. And I mean, like best buds. They hung out all the time. They had Jimmy Stewart had a workshop back behind his house. And they would go back there and just hang out all day building model kits. That's what they did. They were nerds. And the funny story Jimmy Stewart's wife told was that they'd go in there and they wouldn't talk nearly a word for hours. They just loved being around each other. What was that? Fonda, Mitchum, and Glenn Ford all met the men they were portraying. Yes. Because those men actually did come to the movie set. Anybody that was still alive showed up.
And that's a good thing.
And I think that they put some heart into this film. I really do believe they did. But my beef with it is the lack of budget for actually shooting some of the combat with the aerial battles.
Yeah, it was definitely
They still managed to pull it off, but they were chintzy with how they did it. Most of the money went into the miniatures and the battle here on Midway itself. The other thing that pissed me off was that they had them speaking English for the Japanese. I like the way they did it in Tora, which means tiger. Tora means tiger, but apparently when you put the 3 words together as a call, it means lightning strike. Toro, Toro, Toro. And I thought that was interesting. And we will be doing that the week of December 7th. We will be talking about that.
I think Tora is the best movie ever made.
It is.
Really?
In many ways. I think that it's not as visually captivating as the battles shown in the Pearl Harbor movie. Because it's visually more accurate. It is way more accurate. Because there's stuff in some of the footage, because they had to reenact it, but they're reenacting it with the 1970s Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And I think there's even a shot of one of the memorials in it. In fact, one of the memorials is in my Pearl Harbor painting. I put it there on purpose.
Huh. Cool.
Because somebody caught it and went, hey, that's the Pearl Harbor Memorial. I said, yeah, it's at the very bottom. You can see just a little bit of it. But I put it in there because I thought it'd be funny. Because it's in the Tora movie. Yeah. But again, I wish they had shot the movie like Tora with them just speaking Japanese and doing subtitles.
That is one of my beefs with that movie. And the subplot with the Japanese girl. The film doesn't need it. The movie doesn't need that subplot.
Well, it's thrown in there, like I said, for
all
socio-political reasons.
At that table, you've seen it in a bunch of other movies.
Well, they're still doing it. They just did it in the new Magnum PI. I mean, so many of those people are dead now. Yeah. From World War II, and they're coming close to their 90s. And going to 100s, and they're just dying, and they had to put that into that story into a Magnum PI episode because the housekeeper has no point. She has no point. She's only there for socio-political reasons on that show. And I liked her when they first started because that's not why she was there. That's what they turned her into, and it got really boring very quickly. So the C story in the latest episode of Magnum PI is about that one. I'm there for the B stories. My favorite stories are about TC and Rick. because I like those two actors. They do a great job as TC and Rick.
When I was
And
in
the real Rick was in the latest episode too. The original actor, he's still alive. Moretti, whatever his name is.
when I was in Hawaii, they filmed a lot of that Magnum PI, the 70s series, and
Well, I already talked about
Fort
that,
Shasta.
Chinatsky.
Yeah.
But yes, it's true. Well, what happened was they decoded part of the Japanese code. And it was, as they put in the film, 1 out of every 10 words was decoded. And so what they had to do was guesstimate. But it's an estimate. It's a guess, but an estimate based off of their knowledge of the Japanese. And they were right up there. There he is. There he is. That's James Coburn right there.
Yep.
Playing Maddox. I like these sandbox scenes over the maps. And because Robert Wagner's here, he's a Korean War veteran. Coburn served. And Coburn,
James Coburn, I think, Bite the Bullet with him and Hackman. Love that.
his career, he disappeared from film for years, for like 2 decades. He just disappeared.
And then he showed up in Maverick. Yeah.
Do you know why he disappeared?
No, do not.
He suffered from severe rheumatoid arthritis. And all of his movies, if you look at his hands, they look like that.
Mm-hmm.
His hand was always in that position.
Mm-hmm.
They learned to shoot around his hands.
You notice it when he's playing cards in Maverick because his hand is like that, and he's holding the cards, and you can tell with his pinky pointing almost straight down that he can't move his hand. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I got weepy when he died. I did.
He was a tough guy, no doubt.
Yeah. But he became friends with Mel Gibson, and that's why they did 2 movies together.
Mm-hmm.
And but his, as I recall, his return wasn't Maverick. Was it? I thought his return was another film. I'm double checking. Give me a second. I could have.
I don't know if it was his return or not. It's the first thing I saw him in. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on a second. Because he just sort of disappeared, and films got slowly released through the 80s that he had worked on. And he did voice work. It was Young Guns 2.
He was in that? Well, no
Young
one.
Guns 2 was his return to on-screen.
I wasn't
as a
a fan of
serious
Young
actor
Guns
again.
1. That's why I didn't see it.
And then he had a more substantial part in Hudson Hawk, one of my favorite Bruce Willis films. I already introduced Adam to that. I bet you forgot it already. I love that movie. There's a scene in Vindicated where Vindicated tells Bill, he's on his headset talking to him, and he says, how far do I got to go? And how many of these guys have I got to face? Because he's got a drone watching.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells him how many tangos he's got to do with these mercs that are trying to kill him. And he says, okay, that's so many minutes. Play me out. And he starts playing a song in the comic book. And we see the lyrics being played as he's going out. And I can't remember what song it is. And that was my nod to Hudson Hawk, because I fucking love Hudson Hawk.
Hey, man, I can't see shit. I love Howard the Duck. So, hey,
I love Howard the Duck, too.
Everybody.
I knew it was a bad movie, but I still loved it, man.
Welcome to the club, man.
Everybody's got a guilty pleasure.
Charlton Heston.
I have tons of those.
Probably the worst one for me is the Blood Rain trilogy that Bowl made.
Yeah. Now, this story has nothing to do with Midway. This is all drama being put on just for the movie. This is like the love story of Pearl Harbor. And it just has no real place in it. If you want to make a movie about the internments, make a movie about that. And they already have.
It doesn't take up as much space as the love story.
But there comes a point where throwing the guilty finger at the Democrats for doing that, because it was the Democrats who did it. They voted it in the internment camps, and it was a Democrat president who wanted it done. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Wow, Democrats doing racist stuff?
Why?
I believe that.
I know.
Say it isn't so.
It's true. And they can sit there and get mad at me all they want to, because I do. I have friends who are Democrats, and I love Democrats. I'm a Democrat. But I'm not
True Democrat.
I know my history.
Yeah.
People go, you're conservative. I said, I'm as conservative as Hubert Humphrey.
Right.
Because I'll argue with my overly conservative friends. I will. I'll argue with them. And but I got to tell
Today's
you, man,
Democratic Party is not.
it's not my party.
Party.
I won't vote for him anymore. The
Well,
last person I voted for was Jay Nixon for governor of Missouri, and the mess he made of that shooting in just south of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Calling in the National Guard and sending in white police, more state police, instead of bringing in every black officer from the state to calm things down. That guy was a fucking idiot. Not to mention, he destroyed the Missouri Film Board.
But you
He
got to
shut
look
it
at
down.
you
He
got
made the Missouri Film Board part of Parks and Rec. Jay Nixon did that. We used to give the same tax credit that Louisiana's film package is based off of Missouri's.
Yeah.
They took ours. We don't have it anymore. And that's why people hardly shoot here.
They quit shooting here too. They're all in Georgia now, man.
Now he had, what did you say, dermatitis?
I think that was what they
Yeah,
said.
dermatitis. So he's got the calamine lotion shit all over him. But Mitchum was just a badass. This was the same year he did The Big Sleep.
Yeah, Big Sleep.
And then the next year he did another film
That one I
playing
remember,
Philip
by the way.
Marlowe. But that one, not so critically acclaimed because The Big Sleep he did as a period piece. It was shot like it was supposed to be the 30s.
That guy right there.
Yeah.
He was in a bunch of movies back then. He
Oh, I
usually
can find
played
him
an
real
asshole.
quick. Yeah, he was in a lot of shows, and usually, he made a career of playing jerks. Let me find him real quick.
Can't remember his name, but he was great.
Eric Estrada's in this too, by the way.
Yes,
He's
Chili
a
Bean.
pilot. He's a pilot. Robert Ito from Quincy is in this too. He plays one of the Japanese officers. I'm looking for him. Trying to find him.
He always played a jerk. Always did.
Goodness gracious. I'm all the way down near the bottom.
Yeah, the cast
They're
is
hardly
so huge. I mean, shoot.
Mitchell Ryan is in it. He plays Fitch in this. Mitchell Ryan, man.
There's Glenn Ford.
John Shuck is uncredited, but is in this. You remember John Shuck? He was he was in that robot series, Robot Cop, before RoboCop.
Before RoboCop, yeah.
I cannot find him, dude. I am not seeing him.
I'll look. Get back to your show. I'll look.
No, I need to because I know that guy. He's been in a lot of
in
a lot of episodic TV. There is one other actor I brought up to Anima while we're watching it. Is he was a tough guy in films. And Dabney Coleman, who's also a veteran, is in the movie too. But Glenn Corbett is in it, and Glenn Corbett plays John Waldron, lieutenant commander. He was a real world tough guy, as was Christopher George.
Robert Weber is the guy's name.
That's it, Robert Weber. Yes. Yeah, very well-known actor. But Christopher George was best known as one of the stars of, or the star of Rat Patrol. And he was a combat vet.
Weber was in The Dirty Dozen, too.
And if I remember correctly, Corbett was a combat medic.
That's the movie I remember him the most from, though, 12 Angry Men. Robert Weber's prominent in that movie.
Yes. Wait, which version?
The
first one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, with Lee J. Cobb.
Mm-hmm.
And they remade it. And it was the second crossover for George C. Scott.
I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure it's the original.
When they did the remake in the 90s, George C. Scott played the part that Lee J. Cobb played, which is funny because George C. Scott took over playing Lee J. Cobb's part in The Exorcist.
1957, the first one.
Yeah, the first one. That's a great film. Henry Fonda's in that one.
Yeah, it is.
Clyde Kusatsu is in it. He was in a lot of TV shows in the 70s and 80s, usually playing a cop. He plays Commander Watanabe. And like I said, every single character in the film, main character, is based on a real person, except for Heston and Edward Albert. This whole scene bugged the hell out of me.
Yeah, if you're watching this movie, just fast forward every time these two are on screen.
Yeah.
Fine.
Just jump ahead. It's not important what's happening here.
It's not.
Actually, you can cut it out, and the movie still has a nice length because it's 2 hours 20, I think. So if you cut out all that crap, you still
it's still like an hour 45 minutes.
More.
Yeah,
I would say almost
You think
2
so?
hours. Yeah.
there's Uncle Ben. There he is.
Yep, there's Uncle Ben right there. And this is when Heston comes in to talk to him. Now, Uncle Ben is playing a real character, whereas Heston is a fictional character. Again, this conversation never took place. And he's playing, Robertson is playing Colonel Carl Jessup. Or Commander Carl Jessup.
Cliff Robertson. Oof.
Great actor. The thing that I remember him for is he played Kennedy in PT 109.
Yep.
And he played Charlie
That's probably
the book is Flowers for Algernon, but the film was called just Charlie, I think.
Yeah, it was Charlie.
Got the Oscar for it.
Nominated for an Academy Award for that one too. I don't think he won it, but I think he was nominated for that one.
And he ended up in a huge beef with communists in Hollywood, and had to be snuck out of town in a trunk of a car. True story. Some of the commies that were in the Union going after him because he was conservative. Robertson was very conservative. And they had to get him out of town because they got word that they were going to try to kill him. He wasn't the only actor who had a beef, because I was friends with an actor. He's dead now. I don't know if I want to say his name, because he had a beef with Edward Asner.
Ooh.
You know Asner.
Boy,
Asner's a big commie. He was a big socialist,
That's
and that's why it was so funny that John Wayne worked with him, because he didn't like commies, but he would occasionally work with them if they were good actors. And Ed Asner is one of the remakes of Rio Bravo. Yeah. And he played the villain in the film.
Sometimes
but
you
he
need
and
to
Asner
separate
did
the
not
art
get
from
along.
the artist.
Well, they didn't get along. They did the film, they did their scenes, and that was it. No love lost between the two of them. Is the day after a film you would show on the day after? What is that one? Shit. Oh, yeah.
The nuclear war and shit.
That's the television movie that really
It scared the shit out of me, dude.
it scared the hell out of everybody when it came out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was 19 when that came out, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh man, why did they make this? Now I'm scared of nuclear war. And a lot of people don't know. We came fucking close.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
That's
yes.
why-
That shit wasn't released publicly for years. What happened during the Reagan administration with Russia? There were some hot moments there where we came really close to all-out nuclear war. And thank God cooler heads prevailed. Because Alexander Haig was an idiot. If you can't, okay, I have friends that say it wrong, and I feel bad saying this, but the word is nuclear. It's not nuclear.
Yes,
There's no such fucking word. If you are,
Dude,
Yes.
I have close friends who say it annoys me every time they do it.
I am appalled of the number of times that I heard that one on YouTube or on TV.
This is me.
Rocket scientist
This is me when somebody says it, and you'll see me do it. I will do it live on a show. I've done it live on a show. I will go like this.
Yeah.
What? You don't like the word nuclear?
You must have been wincing a lot when W was.
John, you're pushing the buttons, buddy.
W, man, he did it all the time.
Yeah,
nuclear.
it's
W.
nuclear.
Yeah, W. That guy was known for mispronouncing fucking words. He was the king of mispronouncing
Hey,
words.
we're just in time for our commercial break.
Yeah, let's go for it. You
Roll
do
it.
Mm. mean, I like Pop Culture Minefield. Buy our shirt. Buy our shirt. So cool. I don't even know if you can even hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, and I want to
Yeah.
guarantee
We
your
can hear
audience,
you.
you won't sound like that if you buy our merch.
Yeah.
I can assure.
My name
Ladies
is
and
Todd.
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this outbreak was brought to you by retarded Gary. He does that sometimes.
What was it? Carlos Mencia. One of the funniest things he ever said, dude, man, even retarded kids are looking at you going, yo, man, you're retarded.
Who's modeling the shirt for you?
Those are paid for by Craig, my buddy Craig.
And Cavitino's in the house.
He's the special effects guy from TV shows like Earth Without Man on History Channel, Dogfights on History Channel. He also did what was that show? Jonathan Nolan headed up before he did Westworld. Person of Interest.
Okay.
He did all the visual effects for that show.
Oh, cool.
And he worked with us for about a year. It's sad. He just sort of faded into the background because we weren't going to go the direction he wanted us to go, which was be more scripted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's just not Keith and me. And so he's like, well, he couldn't figure out what he could do. And so he just sort of faded in the background, but we're still close friends. I love that guy. I love him so much. Craig
I keep hearing I need to watch Person of Interest. I hear it's a good show. So.
Now, you want to talk about, he has been shitting on me for 45 years as a friend. I can't think of anything nice he ever really said to me that didn't come with a zinger. He always was shitting on me. And I played the video. It's on our YouTube channel. Where he took an absolute shit on me. He goes, yeah, I saw another episode of Pop Culture Minefield just dropped. He goes, yeah, this is back when we recorded. And he goes, and he's playing both characters talking to each other. Great video. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah, you've shown it before.
He says, yeah, it's dropping like every day now. Yeah, like almost every day. He says, yeah, it doesn't really have much to it. You know, it's really dumb. He's just shitting on the show. And then he shit on me personally because at the end of the video, when the guy accidentally blows himself himself up, and he's laying there in blackface. And he asks himself, are you wearing makeup? Because I actually said that to him back in 1982 at the showing of Blade Runner. I'm walking out of the theater. He's coming in, and I looked at him and said, "Are you wearing makeup?" He had mascara on, and he went, "Oh," and just turned away from me. And I'm like, "What did I say?" And Jim Woodward grabs me. He goes, "Come on, we gotta go."
Man, I love him.
He knew Craig was gay. My gaydar wasn't really hooked up yet. I didn't know Craig was gay. We're close.
Yeah,
friends.
those planes are cool. Mark.
Oh, my beautiful.
UI is so beautiful, dude. That's why in one of my stories I wrote a story called Indiana Jones and the Eye of the Pyramid. Dark Horse loved it, but they couldn't produce it because, unbeknownst to any of us at the time, because Richard Bonk was going to draw it with me. I was going to do the cover art. He was going to do the internal art. And I was writing it with Tom Waltz from IDW. And I wrote the entire story synopsis. I have a copy of it now if anybody ever wants to read it. And the whole thing has a Clipper pilot, PBY pilot. They had gotten a decommissioned PBY to fly down to South America. And he was basically going to do what Carter did during World War I and spy for America. And because, he circumnavigated South America to map it. But what he was actually doing was looking for German U-boat ports. That was what Carter was actually doing.
We have a bridge.
My father was command master chief on one of the few kinds of ships that have back doors. There you go. Do we have any military back door? Let me hold on. Let me see if we got.
Yeah, we should on the other.
Yeah,
studio.
Let me switch over, and I'll do a military one.
We have at least 2.
Oh, Yes, here we go. Kelly's Heroes. Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Wild Geese or Kelly's Heroes? One of you guys tell me. Which one you
Wild
want?
Geese. Wild Geese.
All right,
Wild
here
geese,
goes.
wild geese.
Car just pulled up to the back door.
That's right.
And for shits and giggles for me, I'm going to play it.
Check around and see if there's a back door.
I love that movie, man.
Don
Thank you
Rickles'
for
back door.
That
bringing
is
it
one
into
of the
my.
best.
And by the way, Don Rickles is in one of the movies that we're going to be watching probably this week. Innocent Blood with Anthony LaPaglia, who's Australian actually, but he does great American accents. And Robert Loggia. That's Robert Loggia. R as in Robert Loggia. O as in, oh, look, it's Robert Loggia. Anybody watch Family Guy gets that joke because that was in Family Guy. One of my favorite Robert Loggia jokes ever. Robert Loggia plays a mobster, and this French actress plays the vampire. It's John Landis's last good movie. Made it in the 90s. Right before he did that movie, The Stupids.
My favorite Robert Loggia movie is Jagged Edge with Glenn Close and
That is a good fucking movie. Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Yep.
Jeff Bridges is her client, and she wants to believe he's innocent, but that guy is a fucking murderer. And she gets him off, but then he, yeah, it sounds perverted. And then he goes to kill her, but she outwits him.
Yep.
Loggia is really good in that.
He's
Loggia is
fantastic in it, man.
He's the best part, in my opinion, of Independence Day.
Oh yeah, yeah. As the military guy, yeah.
Yeah, he says that great line again. Get a hold of him. Get a hold of everybody. Tell them how to bring those sons of bitches down.
That's right. Too awesome. But yeah, him playing that private. He's her investigator in Jagged Edge, and it's
he's the private detective. He's the attorney, and he's her detective.
Yep,
and they're friends. And
they're all friends.
Like that film too.
And he's a drunk,
and I hate Fonda.
He plays a out and out full blown alcoholic in it, and he's awesome, man. It's great.
There's another Jeff Bridges film with Fonda that was really good, and I have it. I hate her, but I love the movie Morning After, where Bridges plays a former cop, and she is framed for a murder, or maybe she did it. You don't know.
Yeah. And
he ends up falling for her and helping her. And Raul Julia's in it. It's her ex-husband. He's kind of a flamboyant hairdresser, Hollywood hairdresser. It's a good fucking movie.
Boys and Girls. Jeff Bridges made a lot of movies before The Big Lebowski. I tell you,
Bridges was his biggest star in many ways as Harrison Ford.
Yep. I loved 8 Million Ways to Die when we got to meet Andy Garcia for the first time in a big screen movie, man. Oof. He's great as the friggin' drug dealer in that flick.
And a lot of people don't know that movie is, I think that is the first iteration. God, hold on a second. I'm trying to remember the character because Liam Neeson played the character later in A Walk Among the Tombstones, the same character.
The drunk cop?
The drunk. Yeah, each movie is based off of one of the books. Okay. And the first movie, A Million Ways to Die, is based off of the first book, which is his fall as a police officer, as an alcoholic.
If you want to look it up, guys, it's 8 Million Ways to Die. That's the title.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
but it's a great flick. Wow.
1986, there it is. Directed by Hal Ashby, a former stuntman.
And written by Oliver Stone.
Yep. Ollie Stone wrote it, and Garcia is very good in it, by the way.
Yes,
but Rosanna Arquette's really good as the love interest, and Jeff Bridges, and she is the hooker that he falls in love with, and it leads to a lot of his guilt later because she dies in the books. Mm-hmm. And really good film, it really is. And I like that whole shootout with the trolley.
Yes,
up to the mansion.
Great scene.
God, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's available on Tubi. It's for free on Amazon Prime, and it is also available on Pluto TV. So you can watch it for free, absolutely with commercials, on Tubi and Pluto TV.
I am a huge Jeff Bridges fan. Him and Michael Douglas, they're probably my favorite actors ever. Really. I love both of them. I'll watch anything they're in.
And Robert Towne, by the way, is uncredited, but he also helped write the script with Oliver Stone. Robert Towne, of course, best known for Chinatown.
Yeah.
And its sequel, The Two Jakes.
I was blown away when they picked Bridges to play Wayne's part in the new True Grit, too. I was like, whoa.
Oh, he was so good in that.
Yeah.
The problem is in True Grit, he's just another variation of the dude.
Yeah.
And every character he plays now is a variation of Rooster Cogburn and the dude.
Yeah, right.
And I love it, but at the same time, it's like now he's like, I don't know why.
He's
that
pigeonholed
character.
now, you know?
Yeah.
When before he was in all kinds of different roles. Yeah.
Yep. But he was created, the character that he played in 8 Million Ways to Die was created by Lawrence Block. And he wrote a series of books about that character. And I don't remember what the character's name is in the books.
Mm-hmm.
But on film, it's been portrayed by Jeff Bridges and Liam Neeson. So the first story in it is 8 Million Ways to Die.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is with Liam Neeson called A Walk Among the Tombstones. And I think that was actually from the third book in the series. But I love him. And Alcoholics Anonymous plays a huge part in his storytelling.
Huge part, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he goes up against the Irish Mafia, which I would prefer to call them the Irish Mob.
Yeah.
Because Mafia is Italian.
Yeah.
But in the book, he refers to him as the Irish Mafia. And I'm like, really shouldn't call him that. And by the way, on that one, in the movie A Walk Among, I just looked, that is the title of the book, A Walk Among the Tombstones, and I do believe it's the third book in the series. Sketter, that was his name, Sketter, the character in the books. I don't know if they kept the name of the book of the movies or not, but I got to tell you, I like both versions. I love Walk Among the Tombstones. It's a good film.
I have to see that one. Did they treat him? I mean, everybody in 8 Million Ways to Die treats him like he's just useless. Did they treat
by the time he was,
Yeah.
By the time he had gotten in the books to that character, he was really well formed and he was doing well with his alcoholism. The problem he had was his depression because of her death.
Yeah.
And she was a former prostitute that he fell in love with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as Mike Myers would say, her name was Chloe. She was a French prostitute.
Oh my God. I'm having PTSD now. I just saw that small island. Good Lord, no. Don't make me go back.
3 out of, that's Magnum right there. I think that was Magnum right there. Because there were two things going on. There was actually 3 battles going on. There was a sea battle, aerial battle, and a ground battle.
Yep.
And they did a really good job with this footage, but a lot of this was from other movies, and that's what bugs me about it.
Didn't they have actual gun sight footage in this movie?
Yes. There is actual footage of shoot downs from the cockpit crashing, all sorts of stuff, because there was recovered from one of the planes crashing. The footage was recovered after the crash.
Pretty cool stuff, man. That's what I always remember about this movie is the dogfights. That and all the admirals around the frigate.
Now, see, that should be Tom Selleck, but it isn't because he's got a mustache.
Oh man, here they come.
By the way, there was a war film shown recently where they show what looking through a binocular actually looks like. Movies always get it wrong because they do that thing where they show like the coming together. You don't actually see that. You see a round.
No, you see one circular.
One thing, one circle. Showing it like this is weird.
Yeah.
And this is some of the footage that was shot for this movie. So we do get some during the Midway battle itself. That's from Pearl Harbor. That's from Pearl Harbor. And I showed the scene to Anima. When we do the Pearl Harbor one, I'm going to make sure to show the clip.
Yeah.
Not just show the photos, but
Yeah, show the
slideshow.
actual clip. Yeah.
I'm going to show the clip because the stunt went wrong. And when you see those guys running from that crashing Japanese plane, those stuntmen were running for their fucking lives.
Right.
Because the radio controlled plane didn't work right, and it started coming towards them.
Oof.
Now that's the wrong B-17. That's the later B-17A, I think it was, wasn't it? The B-17A when they added the belly gunner, the ball gunner. That B-17 had one. They didn't have one at that point. It wasn't until they got used in Europe that it was decided to do that because the MEs would come up from low on them. And they needed more protection. The waist gunners couldn't do it.
I'm just thinking of all the movies these guys were in, man. Karate Kid guy and Die Hard guy right there.
Yep. Yeah, he's the main, the guy that owns the tower.
He's the boss, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's Pat. He's from Quincy and from Buckaroo Banzai. Not Pat. Robert Ito. That's his name. Yeah. Robert Ito.
I mean, dude.
I just wish they had done Japanese in this. It really bugs me that they didn't follow with what they did in Tor Tor Tor.
I always
hire, by the way, a Japanese director to do the scenes with the Japanese.
Right. I always thought that maybe they used stock footage for the battles and stuff because they spent so much on the friggin' cast for this movie.
The cast was super expensive. This was an all-star cast.
Yep.
They absolutely did. The rest of the budget went to the effects for some of the miniatures, but they couldn't afford to do some of the stuff. So they just went and started picking from real combat footage that they could use from the actual battle and from other movies that took place with the same kind of fighters and battles.
Yeah.
Because the whole opening is right from 30 Seconds Over Tokyo.
Yeah.
They just took the footage of that whole scene, that whole opening. But again, I want to point out Glenn Ford, you just saw him on screen. Badass.
Yes.
Served in World War II, skipped Korea, and then served 2 tours in Vietnam.
$60,000 for combat footage.
That's bad.
Yeah, it is.
Even for then, that's bad. For a big budget film like this, that's bad.
It was a big budget film. It was in Sunsurround. It wow. Yeah.
Oh, it was a huge gimmick film. And they were playing off of the popularity of the film Tora Tora Tora. Because it was a hit.
Now, this is the second Sunsurround film, right? The first one was Earthquake.
Earthquake.
And this one was the second one.
Filmed in Sunsurround.
Yes.
Yeah, Irwin fucking Allen, king of the disaster film.
I don't think he did that one. He didn't do Earthquake.
I thought he did Earthquake.
No.
No?
That's
Towering Inferno. He did Towering Inferno.
They did it in the model of his movies.
Side Adventure. Who did that? Hold on. I need to go check.
I'm going for you.
No, I'll go do it. I'm already here. Okay. Towering Inferno. Because I know it's based on 2 books.
Towering Inferno is his, but Earthquake is not.
And because that's definitely Charlton Heston.
Directed by Mark Robson.
Yeah, look for the producer on it. That's who I'm looking for.
Okay.
Your executive producer on it.
Okay.
The main guy. That's
Bernard Donenfeld. Executive producer was Jennings Lang.
That's who is more responsible. So I'm going to look up real quick to see what they were connected with. So produced by Bernard Robson.
Robson was the director too.
So I would put Robson as, okay, Jennings Lang and Robson would be the ones, because Robson as a director would also have had a lot of influence. So let's see what they're connected with.
Yeah.
Jennings Lang, Airport 75 disaster film.
There you go. Yeah.
Airport 77, Roller Coaster, another disaster film.
Another
which we're in there. My entire football team is in that movie somewhere because we were at King's Dominion when they were filming.
That was the third Sense Around movie. Was Roller Coaster. Yep.
Now, Mark Robeson, man, he worked on some really good stuff, man. He worked on Avalanche Express, Earthquake, The Lost Command, Von Ryan's Express, The Prize, Paul Newman film. I love that movie. 9 Hours to Rama, From the Terrace. Wow, he did some really good flicks here. Peyton Place.
The only reason why I knew it wasn't Irwin Allen is I'm an Irwin Allen freak. I know his entire library.
The Bridges of Toko-Ri.
Yeah.
He was the director of that one. Look at these films. Hell Below Zero. Oh, wow. One of my favorite boxing films, Champion, 1949.
Champion. Yeah.
Is this the one with Boris Karloff? Hold on, let me check. Yes, it is. He directed Bedlam with Boris Karloff.
Wow.
That's a good movie. And there's nothing better in this world than Boris Karloff saying the word Bedlam.
Bedlam.
Nobody could say that word like him. His first movie was The Seventh Victim. And then he did a film called Ghost Ship. Tom
And
Merriam.
what did he do for the other 6
The other 6 what?
victims?
They're only talking about the 7.
Not funny, Martin. Not funny.
Joe is laughing.
I got it.
It was funny. I was just doing a straight face to make it sound like it wasn't funny, but it was funny.
Oh, man.
Jesus, those bridges were tiny.
Now, when you see the names come across like that, that's a real person. So,
Yeah. They went out of the way to point out that these are real people.
copy Red 5. This is Red 6.
Right?
Stop
Cut
the
the
chatter,
chatter,
Red
Red 2.
Stop the chatter, Red 2. Here you go.
That's it.
Interrupt me when I'm saying that line.
Unbelievable.
The scariest role for Lon Chaney ever played was USMC drill instructor. After that, monsters were easy. Yeah,
I have no doubt.
What was that movie he was in? The where he's the Marine drill instructor. I got to go look it up now because I remember that. It's silent, but it doesn't matter. God, what an actor. He was one of the highest paid actors of his time. That's actual combat footage. You can see the tracers zipping through the air.
Yep.
Another. And I love that because that's where you get to see the tracers. Because Hollywood hadn't figured out how to do tracers. The film that first tried to do tracers was shot during World War II. They hand animated it. It's in one scene. But later, the next film to do it was a little Vietnam War film called Apocalypse Now, which they use rockets to make them look like tracers.
Now, when you say they hand did it, you mean they scratched the film? Is that?
I think that's what they did. Is they went in and scratched the film. It's either that or they frame by frame printed the images, painted frame by frame, and then reshot them as animation cells. And you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And it was a night shot in a David Niven film that was made. How We Move Forward, or whatever it was called. It was David Niven was actually, still serving in combat and took a break to make that movie for the British. That's a Hellcat actually getting dipped in the water there.
Just a little comment about the tech at the time. When these Sensorama movies were broadcast on television, I remember they advertised that if your local affiliate had an FM station broadcasting their sound, which some of them did, you could actually listen to what was on the TV on the radio, that it would sync up and you could actually try and get the surround sound feel by using that as your sound when you watched it on television. And it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. I remember that did that with Earthquake. I don't know if they did it with Midway, but I remember
Hey,
both.
Sex in the House.
Hey, Kyle. By the way, the movie is called Tell It to the Marines, shot in 1926, silent film, where he plays a drill sergeant. And he's really good in that film.
But I remember that because
We should do that film.
They broadcast it on a low FM band. It was like in the 80s. Our local NBC affiliate had that in a low FM band. And I played it. It was loud. It was cool.
Because you brought that up, Mark, I'm going to consider that a suggestion. So add that to the list. Tell It to the Marines. We're going to do that movie. I haven't seen that in a long time. I think I was still a teenager the last time I saw it. That is the classic Marine film with Lon Chaney. And again, I'm going to point this out. He was one of the highest paid actors of his time.
Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah.
We need to play Sax's video.
Yeah, go for it, man. I'm doing research over here, so.
Doing research? Oh, my.
Yeah, I looked up. I just fucking...
Wow.
Shut up, Martin. You're my Meg. Shut up, Meg.
Oh, that hurts.
Hey,
Stop doing my job, Martin.
He may be the only Asian actor at that time that wasn't in this movie as a Japanese guy.
And Martin is the only Latino YouTube star that isn't Mexican.
Yeah, YouTube star, of course.
I think I think people love you on the show. I really do. I think they do. I think they love you as much as they give
Martin,
shit to
you
hear
kidding
from
me?
me.
Yeah.
Martin's great.
He's the best.
Yeah, I'm looking for that movie that it has been brought up twice, Attack Force C.
I don't want to say that Martin has trouble saying things in English, but it took him 4 hours to describe 60 Minutes to me one night.
And that was using a translator, so
that's a joke that I found a new way to use it, because I've been doing that joke for a long time for friends of mine that are long-winded, and like my friend John Del Vecchio, the New York Times bestselling author, 13th Valley, and all those books. He wanted to know, and I'm going to say this because I've said it to him. He asked me why I didn't want him to write the script to work with me on a script for one of the comics I was doing. And I said, John, I don't want to say you're long-winded in your writing, but it took you 2 hours to write to me what was in 60 Minutes, or it would take you 2 hours to describe what you saw in 60 Minutes. And he just laughed. He chuckled at that because he knows he's long-winded. He took a book that should have been 300 pages, and I forget the page yet. Let me go look at it real quick. The 13th Valley, which, if you've never read, is one of the best, if not the best, Vietnam War books ever written. And I have the signed first edition that was first published that my dad had. I got it signed for him. And when he passed away, I ended up getting Patrick. What's up, man? The chief is here. Page counts. All right, let's go. 608 fucking pages.
Okay, if they launch from the USS Enterprise, you know you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, the Enterprise was it.
Yep.
That was what we had left after Pearl Harbor. And we used it and we protected the shit out of that ship. Yorktown. We did. We lost what? 2 ships during this battle?
Not sure.
The Japanese.
No, 3. Yes, 2.
We lost 3.
Right.
3 or 2?
2.
We lost
but
one was a battle
they weren't
cruiser.
destroyed.
One was a battle cruiser, and one was one of the aircraft carriers. Right? We lost that was it, and our casualties were really low. The Japanese suffered horribly.
If I remember correctly, the 2 of the carriers were disabled, and that is why Nimitz said, "Well, now we are 1-1."
Ah, that's right. He does say that.
Well, their losses was what eventually broke the Japanese, because America, with its huge resources and huge population, they could quote unquote restock, and Japan just couldn't. They
Yeah,
ran
this
out of
is
everything.
here. I'm going to show you this. We lost a total of 362 men in combat, whether it was on ship, aerial, or on land, Marines and Navy. The Japanese lost over 3,000 men in this battle.
According to what I'm looking at, we only lost one carrier, the Yorktown.
Yeah, one carrier and one destroyer, which is what
Yeah.
I called it a battle cruiser. It was a destroyer.
The
And
Hammond.
we lost 144 aircraft. The Japanese were just decimated. But
Yeah, the laundry list on the Japanese side is crazy. Yeah.
and all because we outwitted them. And
They
then
lost four
I mean,
carriers.
this is 2 victories for us after Pearl Harbor.
Mhm.
And the whole idea, the Japanese, what they wanted to do was they wanted to make it to where we couldn't fight. And they wanted to get us to sign a treaty. That's all they wanted. They didn't want to go to war with us. They wanted to quickly go to signing a treaty to keep, us from fighting them. But they didn't understand. They pissed us off.
The wrong people. That's it.
You do not sucker punch an American and get
Don't
away
poke
with
the bear. Don't poke the bear.
the sleeping dog. Or what was the phrase that Yamamoto said? We've woken a sleeping lion. Was that it? Or
We
Giant.
saw giant,
Sleeping
sleeping
giant.
giant.
It's true.
He also
Because-
said they'd never take the American mainland because there's a gun behind every blade of grass.
Yep.
And Americans tend to fight with nothing to lose. They will just fucking go with people. It freaked the enemy out how we were.
Well, that's what the Japanese did at the end of the war. 2 years after this, the kamikaze thing started, where they just converted the planes to basically flying bombs, and the human sacrifice was justified because they were
suicide.
so desperate.
Yeah.
That's how
But
desperate
you've
they
got
were.
to understand too. The Germans were terrified of us. They were terrified of us.
I think everybody was.
They were terrified of us because what happened in one battle, Belleau Wood. They were so terrified of us, they gave us a nickname. You guys remember what it was? The Marines?
Little dogs.
That's right.
Hellhounds.
Yep. They were terrified of us. Fucking Marines. And I was told by my grandfather, who fought in the Battle of Belleau Wood. He was there. He said when the Marines were coming back for R&R from combat, his unit got pushed forward to hold their position. And he said the Marines were coming back and they had already been gassed. And so their uniforms and masks were covered and coated with mustard gas.
Oh,
And they had popped out the lenses from their masks so they could see to aim, making their gas mask pretty much useless. And they're still getting hit with that mustard gas. And the Germans are like, these guys would just come at us like wild animals. Marines are crazy. And of course, that's where the famous saying came from with Dan Daly, one of the most decorated Marines in the history of the Marine Corps. He said that famous line, "You want to live forever," right there at the Battle of Belleau Wood. More combat footage.
yep. That's what I
Yeah.
remember about this movie the most, is all that combat footage they put in there. That and the sound. Because if you didn't see it in the theater, you didn't get the impact of that sound. It was
Oh, the
great.
sound of these planes is
Yeah.
amazing. That shit's real.
I forget the grain. I'm going to go double check because it's very grainy, the footage used in the wing cameras on those fighters. Because they weren't up near the HUD, they were on the wings. And whenever you triggered the weapon, the cameras would start shooting. And that's why you get so much footage. And from World War II. And it was 35 millimeter and 16 millimeter both. But I think it was low grain footage, which is why it looks so grainy and slightly like you're looking through mesh.
Yeah.
It's not really clear. And I'm trying to see it here, and I can't find anybody saying which grain it is. And I took a guess at it the other night, but I think I'm wrong. I think it was lower grain than that. They don't have it here. Let me see if I can find it. What?
Devil dogs. Hellhounds.
Hi, Cam Cam.
Oh, who's here?
Cam Cam.
Hi, Cam Cam. I can't find anybody that says what grain it is.
Hot diggity damn. What a line.
And the reason why is because certain grains you can shoot in daylight and not have to worry about using lenses or filters with it. And that's why. But like I said, the sacrifice you make is you get that fuzzy look. But I can't find one single reference to the grain of footage. Because I know, like, Josh Becker used 400 grain film for transition shots where he could go from low light to high light, going indoor to outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the grain in it. And by the way, when John Ford was wounded during the filming of the real Battle of Midway, he was actually wounded on one of the battleships. He got shot. There you can see a film crew there. You see the film crew there?
Mm-hmm. You saw. Aircraft carriers are so cool, man. They really are.
Oh, yeah. I just wouldn't want to be in one of these planes where they take off or land.
Why? Looks like fun.
Because how they do it?
Yeah, they catapult them off. They slingshot them off of there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have to get them up to speed really fast in a short amount of time.
After I graduated from high school, I went on a family trip to Greece, and we had, before we landed in Lefkas, we had to land on the other coast. And the runway was one of the shortest I've ever seen in my life. And he basically slammed the plane into the ground, and full on brakes, and starting wasn't much better.
Yeah.
Because he had the engines running and all the brakes on, and then he just released. Doesn't feel good.
By the way, I do want to point out historically that of Torpedo Squadron 8, you've met him in the film, Ensign George Gay. That's a character in the film. Well, during the battle, he is the sole survivor of his squadron. Most of the Japanese air raid sequences, as I told you, are from Tora Tora Tora. During the real Battle of Midway, Toshiro Mifune was in Manchuria training to be a fighter pilot, which is not true. He was a photographer on a bomber. The trivia is written wrong. I'm going to go correct that later. I do that, by the way. I've corrected stuff on IMDb.
And I've helped you do it, remember?
Mm-hmm. Because I know for a fact something, and I'm like, no, that's not true, and I'll go correct it. And that's one of them. I just opened it up in Editor so I can submit an edit. Toshiro Mifune's voice is dubbed by American actor Paul Frees. Frees was also the voice of the Burgermeister Meisberger in the Rankin Bass holiday production of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and also the voice of the ghost host at Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. Mifune's real voice is heard speaking in his native Japanese in the film. Hawaii, when he's delivering one line in the background. It's not a foreground scene. And he had previously played Storm over the Pacific in 1960 as Admiral Yamaguchi.
I did not catch him speak Japanese.
I love the way he speaks it. I love him as an actor. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. And the few American-produced films that he did, I love. The Challenge with Scott Glenn, Hell in the Pacific with Lee Marvin, and Charles, not Charlton Heston, what's his name? Charles Bronson, Red Sun. I love that movie where he plays a samurai. It's basically the same plot that they use for Shanghai, not Shanghai Noon. What was the other one? Oh, was that the first one, Shanghai Noon?
Could
with
be.
Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan?
Yeah. Shanghai Noon.
Shanghai Noon was stolen from Red Sun, where something was stolen from the family, the imperial family, and a sword, as I recall. And Toshiro Mifune goes into the Wild West hunting it down to get it, and teams up with Charles Bronson in it. It's a good film. It's a very good film. Fun. And Mifune sadly gets butchered at the end. Dies a heroic death. Let's see some more trivia. Almost all onboard scenes were filmed on the USS Lexington, an Essex-class fast carrier, commissioned in February 1943. Even some of the Japanese carriers shown in bird's eye view were actually the Lexington, with the film reversed to make it look like it was coming the other way. And of course, the all U.S. carriers had on the starboard side, decommissioned in 1991. The Lexington was the longest serving carrier in U.S. history. It is now a museum ship at Corpus Christi, Texas, and I've been there.
Yet another reason for me to go to Corpus Christi. Never been.
Well, if you're interested in World War II aircraft and you get a chance to go to Colorado Springs, go to the National Museum of World War II aircraft.
Yeah, because you've got actually one of my favorites is the USS Midway. It's in San Diego. Been there. You can go to Corpus Christi to see the Lexington. You go to New York City and see the USS Intrepid. Mount Pleasant has the Yorktown. It's pretty cool shit, to be honest with you. I had a model of the USS Lexington. I had a model of the USS Hornet because I've been there. It's in Alameda, and where the nuclear vessels are. And I'm trying to think. There's another ship. I'm looking it up and I'm not seeing it. USS Hornet. I went to see with my dad. And they were turned into their modern museums. You can go on board, flight deck.
The USS Alabama is in Mobile, Alabama.
Yep.
You can go see that. I couldn't remember the name of the ship that was down there. My mom used to live an hour north of there. We used to go there to go shopping in restaurants and stuff.
And I've been to the battleship, the North Carolina, because it's in North Carolina. It's in
Nice.
Wilmington, and it's a museum too. You can go on board, go on tours. It's really good. I actually also went on to the HMS Belfast when I was in the UK, and that was really nice.
Which one of them is in the movie Magnum Force? Which one of them is that final scene in Magnum Force?
Oh shit! It's the one in that's Alameda. So I think it's the Yorktown.
Okay.
I'll double check, but the HMS Belfast is still a tourist attraction there in London. Oh, it's really nice.
Is Alameda
Beautiful
pretty
ship.
close to San Francisco?
Hold on a second. Aircraft carrier in Magnum Force.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is the USS Rabaul.
Huh. Wow.
It was a cargo ship.
Really? It looks like an aircraft carrier. Didn't it have a flat top to it?
I thought it did.
Yeah. Huh.
I am.
Learn something new every day.
Something's not right there. I'm going to look up further than that. I think they're wrong.
Yeah.
Between flight decks.
Because it sure looks
There
like
it is. It's the USS. The USS Rabaul, the USS Commencement, and the USS Battlewing Strait are all three in the film. because he jumps between decks with the
Yeah,
motorcycle.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
So there are three.
I just sworn he drove that motorcycle on a flat top, and I figured it was an aircraft carrier.
And I'm watching a clip of it now. Oh, there we go.
Well,
Oh, that's super cool. And David Soul is one of the bad cops in that.
dude, that's my favorite Dirty Harry movie because all four of the cops that play the bad cops in it went on to
Become TV stars.
big stars in Hollywood. Robert Urick's one of them.
Robert Urich is in there. David
Robert
Soul.
Matheson. Yeah. Shoot, even the smaller guy, he was in a bunch of movies as a support character a lot.
A lot of people know if you watch the movie The New Centurions with George C. Scott,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see a very young, without teeth fixed, Eric Estrada with his original crooked teeth. I like old school Arnold Schwarzenegger because Arnold, after he got his teeth fixed, it pissed me off. So I thought that was part of his personality, having the gap between his teeth.
Right?
Those of us with gaps love other people with gaps. They really do. We're kind of a club. Terry Thomas was the president. You guys remember Terry Thomas?
There's the Catalina from the
Oh,
World War II
yeah.
Museum.
Look at that. That's a gorgeous plane. Look at the design on that. It looks like something that, and I think it definitely had an influence on the design of the
I got
Navy
a
fighter.
side shot. There it is.
I believe it had an influence, an impact on the design of the Naboo fighter.
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah. Guess so. Yes.
But it's got the observation bubbles.
In fact, there's a famous photo. In fact, I think it's footage. Let me see if I can find it. PBY film shot from at Midway. I do believe there was some footage.
Yeah, Chief. I hate missing your show, man. As an ex-military policeman, I hate missing your show. That Tuesday is the one day of the week when I'm working all day long, and I never get to watch it live. But yeah, you've done some great shows over there, man.
Yeah, I can't find it. But there is some footage that was shot from a PBY, and the footage was shot from the bubble. So you get this great shot looking down the fuselage of the plane as it's going in to land.
Wow.
It's really gorgeous.
Those planes are cool, dude. They are.
They have the torpedo bomber gauntlets, but they don't have a Devastator. I'm looking through my pictures from the museum.
Now, the other seaplane that I was a big fan of is the China Clipper, which they used in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. It's got the two pontoons as the landing gear, kind of, right?
Well, it's the main body, and it's got them out on the end of the wings, or the middle of
Okay.
the wings. Middle of the wings has pontoons, and the
Which
main body.
plane is it? It's got the pontoons, but it's also got tires that can drop out of the bottom of those pontoons. You know the one I'm talking about?
I don't.
Yeah, hang on. I'll look for it. But they made planes like that back then. I can't remember what this one is, but it's nothing like the PBY. The body isn't made for landing in the water. It's the gears.
They also have the Grumman. Was it?
It's a smaller plane though.
I forgot what it is now. The Widgeon, Grumman Widgeon.
Now I'm going to show you one too. Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah. This is the shot, by the way, during the ground battle where you can see Tom Selleck. Boom. Got himself a Thompson. And then this is the China Clipper. I love this plane. And we see here, because this was done with a series of matte paintings because they didn't know there were more. They could only find the one and it didn't work. It couldn't fly, so they had to use miniature effects for it. Can you drop that, Martin? So
yes.
There we go. Thank you.
Oh.
That is a big-ass plane right there. Look at that.
Yeah.
China Clipper. Man, beautiful seaplane. And they used this exact model for the film, but it wasn't functioning at the time. Now it works. But
Look up
later they found out there were more out there. They couldn't find it in time for shooting.
Look up a Twin Otter float plane, and you'll see the one I'm talking about. That pontoons are actually like landing gear on the bottom of it. It's a smaller plane. Looks like it's a 2-seater.
Oh yeah, you see that a lot. They're used today. That's a modern one.
Yeah. They use them as puddle jumpers up in Alaska.
Yep.
Yeah.
But those things actually have wheels that drop out of the bottom of the pontoon.
Well, they also have a version that doesn't have the water thing. It's just got regular landing gear. Because it's just a regular plane, and you can fit it with wheels, or you can fit it with the pontoons and shit.
Yeah.
But that's a nice little plane. Oh, there's a nice one. The de Havilland DHC-3. It's an Otter. It's unlike the other one. No, it's a front prop plane.
Okay.
Instead of having a dual props on the wings.
Right.
Pull prop, not push prop. I love that. Yeah, some nice stuff there. Is it over? The slideshow?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been over for a little while.
Yeah, because I'm sick of the show already today.
God damn. Oh my God.
What did Patrick say? Army aircraft for Henderson Airfield did launch attacks on the Japanese fleet. Henderson Field was the aircraft carrier that could not be sunk. And what's this one say? PBYs had a key role in hunting the German battleship Bismarck. A PBY with America. Yeah, like I told you, my cousin Bud or my uncle Bud flew the PBY in the Pacific, and they were sub hunters and always looking for enemy ships or boats that were clearly spies. And then they would do rescue missions. Yes, you did. You did Magnum Force a while back. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite, but it is one of my favorites. My absolute favorite is just the first film. I love that movie. And you can clearly see that Lethal Weapon kind of borrowed things from Dirty Harry, the first Dirty Harry, including the jumper scene. No, nobody's going to respond. Nothing to say.
Yeah.
Joe?
Oh,
No?
I'm sorry.
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because it did. They both films have a jumper scene where the main cop with problems has to go deal with it. You find out that's why Dirty Harry is called Dirty Harry, because it takes every dirty job that comes along.
Every dirty job. That's it.
And Lethal Weapon, we learned, that's how we find out just how maybe on the edge he really is when he goes up there and goes, "You want to jump? Well, let's jump. Let's go together."
That's fine.
He's crazy. Trying to kill me. And then Riggs.
And then they have that scene
Raj,
right after that where Danny Glover drags.
Well, Raj takes him into the furniture place.
And he pulls the trigger and he's like, "You really are."
He says, "You want to do it? Here, use that." "Oh, no.
Oh, under the chin. It's even better, right?
Chin. Even better. He says, you don't want to miss." He goes, yeah. And he's like really into it. And he starts tightening that trigger. And you see Raj starts to go, "Oh, wait a minute. He's really going to do it." And his facial expression. And then he grabs it just in time for him to squeeze the trigger and the hammer close on his finger. If you've ever had a hammer close on your finger,
that would hurt.
Shit fucking
hurts. That would hurt.
I got pinched by a hammer once, and I got pinched by a slide twice on a pistol. It was both times was the same fucking pistol. Piece of shit Spanish gun, the Star 9mm. Piece of shit. Because the way the safety is designed on it, when you go to release it, you got to be careful because it will grab this skin right here. As you release it, it slides and grabs your skin. So you got to hold it at a weird angle to release it and then bring your hand back up.
What were you doing on that, Chief? What were you doing there, Patrick Jordan? What the thing he just said? He said he worked the jump.
Oh, you worked there? He's probably one of the experts.
Very cool.
So Murtaugh gets gunned down, basically. Henderson Field at Guadalcanal was named for a Marine flyer, Major Lofton Henderson, killed at Midway. Yeah, and that's something I remind people, that Navy had flyers instead of the Marine Corps. And in the movie, you had both Marine and Navy flyers in the film. But in the real battle.
Aha. Security.
So you had Marines on the ground and Marines in the air. And I am a big fan of the Marine Corps hymn. It was like one of the first songs I learned all the words to as a kid, because my brother was Marine. And I was really proud of him.
That's a great song.
Yeah, and they changed it during the 20th century.
Did they?
Yeah, because the Marine hymn's been around long before they were in the air, and the air got added to it. On the sea, land, and air. And they had to add that during the war, or the build-up to the war.
Yeah, they do have Marine pilots now, don't they?
Aviators, just like the Navy aviators. I don't know. I don't think they call them pilots.
I learned that song in grade school because they taught us that in music class at Greenridge. My dad taught me. My dad taught me all the patriotic war songs for the Army. Over here, over here, over there, over there. Yeah. Yanks are coming. The Yanks are coming. All the stuff that was written by what's his name? Cohen. Yeah.
George M. Cohen. That guy could write a rally song, man. Dude, that guy could write a rally song. Marches. But anyway, Midway was a decisive fight that let the Japanese know you're in for a fucking war. As we kicked their asses. They had kicked our asses, and right afterward, we reached out to touch them, let them know we can still touch you. And then Midway, and we outwitted them.
Well, they destroyed the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor. They were surprised that there was still some left.
Yeah.
They're waiting.
They missed all the aircraft carrier because they were in another spot.
Yeah, I know. They're out on maneuvers away from port.
Yep.
And, they hurt us, but they didn't stop us. So, but in December, we'll be doing the Pearl Harbor film Tora Tora Tora. Then we're going to do the not Billy Mitchell, the Doolittle raid, 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to do the Midway, the newer one by Independence Day director Roland Emmerich.
Yeah.
People love to shit on him in Hollywood, but the fact is, every single person I've seen that saw it liked it.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't either. And I plan to watch that real soon.
I will definitely watch it for sure before the show because, God, what's the kid's name that's in it? He had just done something huge. I say kid. It's not the guy from the Batman movie that played Two-Face, is it? Is that him?
Oh, in the movie Midway?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll look it up real quick. Midway 2019.
Yeah. World War
II
II
had
was
Ed Skrein as Dick Best, Woody Harrelson, and that one kind of bugged me because they made Woody Harrelson look like Dale Dye.
Patrick Wilson, I'm thinking of, yeah.
Patrick Wilson, but Woody Harrelson, they should have just hired Dale Dye.
Well, we have another breach. This time from Capitino.
Patrick Wilson plays Edwin Layton. Luke Evans is in it. And Luke Evans plays the guy who breaks the code. Aaron Eckhart plays Doolittle. Quaid plays Halsey. And Manny Moore plays random girl in the story because they needed a female.
Cool. I like it.
I like Mandy more, so I'm just being shitty. It's like, how do you do a World War II film with women? They're the love interest, wife, spouse, a spy,
Right.
someone that works for the French underground or Dutch underground.
Well, they're also wax too.
Hey, what's your language? You had wax, you had waves. Each branch had their female members of the service.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm actually looking forward to seeing this film. And Nick Jonas is supposedly pretty good in it. He plays. I'm not sure if he's the pilot or the gunner on one of the Dauntlesses. Oh, fucking Alexander Ludwig is in it. Because he's on that show Heels and Vikings. He's also in the movie The Covenant. He's one of the soldiers in Covenant. Good actor, man. Watch for him. He's one of those guys. He caught my attention. It's sort of like all the way back in the 80s. My dad and I used to talk about Bill Paxton before anybody knew who the hell he was.
Right. Yeah.
Because Dad and I caught him, and it was because of the movie Weird Science, which I'm introducing Anima to.
My God.
Probably in the next week or two, because I introduced her to the music video, Weird Science, with
He's an
Danny
asshole.
Elfman.
Anybody with a haircut like that, you know he's an asshole.
Yeah, because he gets turned into a giant booger.
No, he gets turned into a giant pile of shit.
Pile of shit.
Is that was it shit? I just remember,
Yeah.
dude. I haven't seen it since
all over him and everything. Yeah.
George Bush was still president the last time I saw it. The senior.
I am a big fan of Anthony Michael Hall. I'll watch any.
Me too. When he disappeared for a little bit, like a few years, it was like a handful of years, and then came back and he did that combat film with Michael Perry, where they're fighter pilots.
Yep.
And I kept going, why does that guy look so familiar? Why does his name sound familiar? And I'm like, who is this guy?
It's the
I
same
know that name.
kid from 16 Candles and Vacation.
Because
But
when that movie came out, we didn't have the Internet Movie Database yet. So I had to go to books to find out who the hell he was. And I'm like, Anthony Michael Hall, what do I know him from? And then I went to one of my magazines and I saw him and I'm like, Weird Science.
Yeah. But boy,
That's
he
the
fell
same
down
movie
after
too.
that. He was already.
He pulls his shirt off in one scene and he's fucking cut.
That guy's big. Yeah.
He got beefy. And suddenly he got leading man roles after that. He starred in the series around 2000.
Dead Zone.
What?
The Dead Zone. He produced it too. Yeah.
And he was good in that show.
Yep.
I like him. I like him as an actor. I think he's good. Isn't he in the Batman films? One of the films?
Yes, he's the
He's an
reporter.
asshole.
He's the
He's a
reporter.
reporter.
Yeah.
One of the reporters.
It's hung upside down to tell him.
Yeah, he gets killed by the Joker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just an outstanding actor.
He's great.
Anthony Michael Hall.
He's been
He's
a
little
lot of.
scrawny nerd.
He's the asshole jock in Edward Scissorhands.
Yes,
You know.
the ex-boyfriend that doesn't like Edward. Yeah, always
Right.
giving him shit. The bully.
Yep.
And I didn't even recognize him when that movie came out, and I saw it.
That's
in the
because
theater.
everybody was used to seeing Farmer Ted from 16 Candles, this scrawny little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Breakfast Club, and he was a scrawny little bookworm, right? Boy,
Yeah.
he filled out, man. You know, everybody he went to school with was like, please don't hit me for what I did to you in school. Because you know he got shit, small as that guy was. He ended up filling out, becoming huge, man.
Yeah.
He's like 6'4". He's a
Yeah.
big dude. Yeah.
Puberty hit him hard.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, he went from being a squeaky kid to, hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing? How's the weather down there? Good to see you.
What's up, Shorty? Does that mean Gary is going to wear a bra on his head while watching Weird Science?
Yeah,
I will not,
too.
because the only bras that I have available to me belong to Dawn, and I will not borrow her cat's wife. I will not borrow any of her undergarments. It's none of my damn business. I got weirded out.
I'll go buy one and wear it.
Oh man.
Yeah, you
Funny.
go do that, John.
Too funny.
I could buy one and call it a bro.
It's an intricate
Insane.
part. You're gonna create a Kelly LeBrock.
Do you remember that on Seinfeld? The bro? Bras for older men.
No,
As they begin to sag.
Oh no.
I fucking love Seinfeld. And if there is any chance, if it's true what Seinfeld said on that stage last week, that he and Larry David are discussing doing something again, I loved it. Variety goes, Julie's Rivals hasn't heard a damn thing. She's not a fucking show creator. That's why. It's the two show creators that are talking. Hey, Variety, you're so good at your job. And I tagged him in my post. Like, you guys are fucking stupid. Like, why would she be involved in the discussion at this point? They're in early talks. Why would she be involved?
Yeah, it's like listening to
Variety.
Meltzer about wrestling. It's just
Yeah.
don't listen to anything that guy says.
Oh my God. And Fansided posts this article last night, and I had to comment on it today. It's on my personal Twitter page. It says, here's what the Marvels mean to its fans, part 1. And I used to work for Fansided. I got hired by them. And then I saw who my editor was. And I Susan got me the gig because she used to be with Pop Culture Minefield. She was working for Fansided. She got me the gig because she liked my writing.
Right.
And I got hired by Fansided, and I never wrote a fucking thing for them. I'm like, I'm not going to write for you guys. No, I'm going to get edited very badly or shut down and fired because you guys are fucking woke. So this female fan, I say that very snarkily, says the Marvels is like one of the most important things to her and how she's looking forward to this. And so I posted and I said these exact words. I can hardly wait to see how this article measures up to the box office on this film, so we can just see how far Fansided magazine has sunk since their best nerd writers left for greener pastures 2 years ago. Because all the writers I was friends with over there are gone.
My niece wants me to take her to see it because she's a big fan of Ms. Marvel, the TV series, but she's 10, so.
Yeah, don't get mad at little kids for that.
And Ms. Marvel was bad. Ms. Marvel was not bad. It really wasn't.
I should say, don't judge them. By the way, guys, last night I had fun. I joined Admiral Teague on his Saving Star Trek show. Keith was on there. That's why I joined, because he got Keith on. I'm like, oh shit, Keith's on there. And he sent me an invite, so I joined him. It was fun. We talked about Star Trek, and Keith and I went down some memory lane in history, and we got into it last night talking about that. We don't like the revisionist history of how involved Lucille Ball was with Star Trek. I'm like, no, she wasn't. Herbert F. Solo and her husband, her new husband, second husband, were the ones that were running the show. She didn't get really directly involved with anything until Mannix. And then she put her career on the line.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But eventually it was sold to Paramount. And that's why in 1968, you saw the change in the logos at the end of the show. Desilu was no longer there. It was Paramount.
I was fixing to say, when it first came on the air, wasn't it on NBC? I thought it was on NBC when it first came out.
Yeah. It was on NBC for
I was wondering when it changed hands over to Paramount, because Paramount
CBS produced it with Desilu.
I never could
for
figure
NBC.
Like,
that's not the first. That's been done before. It still happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
right
now,
a lot of times
Magnum PI is on NBC. They brought the show back.
It started on CBS.
It's even worse than it was when it was on CBS. And it was one of the things Alex Kurtzman, I commend him for. I actually kind of liked the Hawaii Five-0 when it started, the new series.
Yeah, the new series is pretty good.
I liked it. I like Dano in particular. I like the main
Scott
character. Just forgot his name.
I like the I don't
the
know
main
if she's
cop,
Asian American or what, but I think her last name's Park. I think.
Oh yeah, she was good. But they really fucked over the Asian cast. Oh, take care, Patrick. They kind of screwed over some of the Asian cast, and they didn't want to pay them what they deserved, and so you would see some of those actors fade out and disappear off the show, and that was the producers showing how still racist the system is. You want to talk about systemic racism? It's in networks and in studios.
Yeah,
that's where it's at. You will find it. It's prevalent still right now. All the talking they're doing, it's all puff piece. It's all bullshit. They're still sexist and they're still racist in Hollywood. But anyway, it was a fun show last night talking about Star Trek. And, you know, Keith and I laid down some knowledge and made it clear Lucy had very little to nothing to do with it. It was her name, and pretty much that's all. She was more interested in Mission Impossible, and other shows. And her focus was when Mannix got started, putting her own personal. She spent personal money with the revision of that show.
Yeah,
she went in there to make the changes because they were going to cancel it, and she made the changes. She stepped in. I love that.
Star Trek was ahead of its time, man.
It was, but once again, it was Herbert Solo and her husband. And her husband didn't know what he was doing. He's the reason why it got sold. He is the reason, because he didn't understand what they had. And she had stepped off so much that she couldn't stop it. A huge mistake. Yes, she was Grace Park.
Yes, Grace Park. That's her name. Yeah, absolutely. And yes.
And she ended up getting fucked over on the show, too. Didn't she get fucked over? Because the doctor that ended up going over to the doctor with autism show.
Oh, the Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor.
Yeah.
The Korean doctor, and that was one of the guys on Hawaii Five-0. And that's when they didn't renew his contract and they just let him go for no fucking reason other than they didn't want to up his pay.
Yeah, him and Grace Park were complaining that they weren't getting as much as the other actors.
I think they both got shit canned.
Yep, they both did. They were like, "Oh, we don't need you, so bye."
And for a little bit there, while it was in CBS, the big Samoan actor, Polynesian actor that ran the eatery truck, that they would go to, ended up on Magnum PI. They pulled some strings to keep him working, but you just don't see him anymore. And so I'm assuming that character just disappeared, or the actor doesn't work anymore. I don't know. He's a big guy. Those guys tend not to live long.
Well, you guys must have had fun with Admiral Teague, though. He's got the best avatar on YouTube.
When I first heard Admiral Teague, I suspected it was Doomcock doing another persona, because he sounds a lot like Doomcock's normal voice.
Does he? Yeah.
Yeah. It throws me up because he'll do an impression of Kirk. Teague does.
Yeah.
He sounds just like Doomcock doing Shatner.
Wow.
And it weirded me out. And I'm like, is this Doomcock? Is somebody? And I was really, when I started talking to him, like hesitant, because I know Doomcock. I talk to Doomcock every once in a while. Yeah. And I love Doomcock, by the way. I just love his shit, man. He's just so fucking funny. And he's got some balls, dude. For Friday Night Frolics.
Hey.
Singing for like 5 hours. That's crazy, dude.
Hey, man. His fans love it, and he makes a lot of money doing it.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Daniel Day Kim.
Yeah, Daniel Day Kim. That's him. Hawaii Five-0. And I think the only thing that bothered me with the new Hawaii Five-0 is they didn't explain the name.
Yeah.
Because 5-0 is now used for just cops in general. Hey, man, don't call the 5-0. But 5-0 represented that Hawaii was the 50th state.
Yeah.
And so that was.
But yeah, I just love that Commodore Decker avatar he's got, man. Because that's my favorite episode of Star Trek.
That's what we watched last night.
You watched? Oh,
we watched the Doomsday Machine. It is my favorite single episode.
It's my favorite.
My top five favorite episodes is Doomsday Machine, Amok Time, the two-parter, The Menagerie.
The Menagerie,
which is technically that's 4 episodes, and the 5th one is Balance of Terror.
Balance of Terror. City on the Edge of Forever isn't in your top 5, huh?
Jesus Christ, there's only fucking 5, Joe.
There's no reason to cuss at me,
there's
man.
No fucking more. You
saying,
gotta understand, man. People do this to me all the time, and it irks me in a playful way. I just want to make fun of them. It's like my top 10 list, and I always make it a point now to go, this doesn't mean the only 10 fucking things I loved. These are just the top 10. There are more beyond it. So don't sit there and ask me, why isn't, but inevitably, I always get, what? Quentin Tarantino's Something isn't in it?
Hey, Penny, send Daniel our best wishes, okay?
Please.
Why? What's going on?
He just getting out of the hospital today. He had a hip
going on?
replacement surgery.
Hip replacement.
Was it his hip? Or are they making him more hip? But he's going to do fine. Danny's taking care of himself to a certain extent. I'll say my prayers for him too. I do my nightly prayers. I'm a Catholic, as they say in New York, in the Bronx. Hey, Father, I'm a Catholic. But I wonder how long is he going to be in? Is it going to be like, is he going to stay there for a few days? Anybody know?
No, he's getting out today. That's
he's
what
getting
she
out
said.
today.
Yeah, that's what she said, that he gets out
Well, that's
today.
good. He's just got to take it easy and trust the PT people. Let them do their job.
No playing basketball yet.
Nope.
Or laying spread eagle.
And
Hey, what's the mine? She said.
Penny is right in the joke.
Was it hers? Also, I think my joke about him needing to become more hip.
Right.
So he had his surgery to become more hip. Oh, I love City on the Edge of Forever. It is a great one. And it's one of the reasons why I always, when people go, man, what a great writer he was. And I'm like, yeah, he was. That fucker was crazy. And don't think for a second he wasn't. There was something wrong with him. He was prone to a fight for no fucking reason. He would just fight people, just hated people for stupid fucking reasons. His reasons were always stupid, I swear to God. But man, his science fiction is good. Great science fiction. But I wouldn't want to know him. I would never interview him. I don't like people like
Who
that.
wrote that one? Isaac Asimov?
No, that's oh fuck.
If I hadn't said anything, you'd have known what it was. Right?
He was kind of a socialist, and so I wouldn't have gotten along with him. Let's see, Harlan Ellison.
Harlan Ellison. I knew it was one of the big science fiction names. I just couldn't remember which one.
Yeah, it was
Ellison.
Ellison wrote it, and
then he killed Bones McCoy in it. Bones died.
They did.
And he demanded. He fought, and it's like, you don't get to write as a piece worker writer. He's hired to be a writer on a show. He's not a lead writer. He's not the showrunner. He's just a writer that was hired. You don't get to kill one of the lead characters.
Nope. Sorry about that.
And the dumbassery of his mindset just blows my mind how stupid he was. Brilliant guy when it came to writing, but when it came to how shit works, he was an idiot. And that's somebody I would want to sit down and talk to. But Slaughterhouse 5 still is one of my favorite books. I read it in school, high school. And I saw the movie, I think around the same time, because I heard there was a movie. I'm like, okay. I was never allowed to watch it before because I was too young. Because there's sex in it, nudity. So I finally watched it, and I'm like, this is a fucking good film. I liked it.
But Midway's a good movie, dude.
Yeah, it was.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, again, it's the B story that was annoying.
Yeah, the B story was.
It's a film that didn't need a B story. They should have just stuck to the thing. It's like Pearl Harbor, the B story, the love story. Dumb.
Don't need it. Everybody's got loved ones in warfare, okay? Let's just deal with the warfare. Thank you.
And when we see stuff like that, we'll just refer to it as the Dragnet song. Dum, da dum, dum, dum.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get out of here. We're 20 minutes over. It was fun. Got good hanging out, guys. I've got to prepare for my doctor's appointment in about an hour. It's my last doctor's appointment with my current doctor because I fired her. She doesn't know she's fired. She'll know it when I don't do new appointments anymore. My next appointment is in December with my new doctor. She made a mistake.
Why
she
do you
made
have
two mistakes, and I could forgive the first mistake. But when I requested a refill on the tramadol for my neck, and she feared the single lowest dose non-addictive opiate out there was too dangerous and risky, and gave me instead an even riskier inset that doesn't do anything for my neck. It's not helping at all. My neck still hurts all day long. So
I was just wondering why you have to do prepare.
What's that?
You got homework you got to do for your doctor's appointment?
No, I've got to go there. It's a drive across town.
You said prepare.
Prepare. I got to go there.
Okay.
I also got to throw my shoes on.
He's talking about putting pants and everything.
No, I have my pants on. I don't have shoes on right now. I'm wearing my slippers.
I'm not wearing pants.
Whoa! Freedom!
I'm wearing shorts.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm not wearing pants in somebody's mind right now. I don't know who.
Look out.
Because I put it in there that there's a possibility.
And am I suspiciously silent?
She's not. She went back to sleep. She went to bed. She's like, "Oh, you guys are talking about things that I don't care about."
No,
I
didn't.
can't-
I'm here.
No, she was the one thinking about you, Pamphlet.
Oh
No. No.
I'm really not, Martin.
Why would you go there with that? She does not work that way. Her brain does not work that way at all. I
Man,
understand her.
Capitino, he's
People
on his
say things
third.
like that to her, and I'm like, you do not understand her at all.
Cap-
Her brain does not work that way.
Capitino is on his third attempt, and you don't pay attention to him.
I didn't know he was here. I've been watching the chat very much. I see Ken said Midway is great, brilliant cast. Yeah, you too, Cam. Have a good day.
Yep.
Thanks for commenting deleted, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Gary needs to repair his back door for his doctor's appointment. I'm going to say something here. I'm 59 years old. And I've been waiting for my doctor to go, have we done that test yet? And I'm going to go, no. Well, why haven't you asked for it? And I'm like going, who the fuck asks for that test?
Yeah. I'm always coming up with excuses to avoid mine. So
I don't know. I'm just wondering, when is one of my doctors going to request for that test to be done? My age is pretty obvious medically. They know my fucking age.
You're playing hard to get.
No, I will tell them how to do their jobs when I'm injured, when there's something going on. But when it comes to stuff like that, I feel it's their responsibility to do it. People go, well, it's your responsibility for your body. I'm like going, I don't give a shit if I die. So fuck you. No.
Gary won his dine and wine first.
Tim says this is a great joke.
Whenever you talk about stuff like that, all I can see is that drunk doctor from Cannonball Run with his finger up doing.
Yeah.
Always want to give.
I rarely need more than
Mr.
this.
Bean flipping people off.
Yeah. Always want to give everybody the.
Too funny.
Hey, I'm not in charge of the videos, dude. Are you going to play the video for him?
Oh. That means
It's you, John, or Anima. Somebody needs to be in charge of that.
Yeah, but if I cut you up, you will fire me. So
Not me.
No, just prepare for it. Wait for that moment where I stop talking.
That was a fish, Piratas.
Okay.
Cowboy, check around and see if there's a back door.
There you go. Much better.
Car just pulled up to the back door.
Because it made 3.
And comedy always works in threes.
Hell yeah.
The trifecta. And what's used in that? It's called the callback. I love callback humor. One of my close friends when I was younger, we used to do that all the time. You would be like an hour into like a party, and then something would happen, and either he or I would do the callback joke when somebody would do something, and everybody would kind of stop for a second and go, "Oh," and remember what happened earlier. I love shit like that. It's great comedy.
Oh,
But, I'm going to add, by the way, because Mark brought it up earlier, Tell It to the Marines with Lon Chaney. We're going to do that. And because we do a slideshow, it being a silent film doesn't matter.
I took a note of that, Gary, so we don't forget it.
And it's already got its own subtitles.
I think Tim mentioned The Gallant Hours.
yes.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was about Admiral Halsey.
sure I've seen it, and I just need to look it up real quick. Yeah, James Cagney. I've seen everything.
James Cagney is Halsey.
Cagney. Yeah, I've seen this movie. Good film. It's got Dennis Weaver in it, Vaughn Taylor, Richard Jekyll is in it. Oh my God, Les Tremayne. You know him as Mentor on Shazam.
You know what movie of Cagney I really, really like? Angels with Dirty Faces.
I love it when you
Man,
say, "Hey, do you know something?" and you say it in such a way that I don't know what the fuck you said. That just happened. You said something and I don't know what you were referencing. You have to say it again for me to understand it. So what was it again?
Angels with Dirty Faces?
With Dirty Faces, Bogart.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, Cagney. Yeah, Cagney.
Yeah.
Right.
I love
Great
that
story,
movie.
by the way. It was in the biography of Jimmy Cagney. He talks about how he came to a stop on Hollywood Boulevard one day, and he looked to his left, and there was Humphrey Bogart in his car, picking his nose.
Yeah, I have a suggestion for a movie too.
Okay, make sure to make a list.
James
James
Mason's
Mason.
the desert. James Mason's The Desert Fox.
The Desert Fox.
There you go.
To do James Mason, you do a London accent, proper London accent, and then you just start squeezing like you have to poop. James Mason. I love James Mason. He's a great actor, man.
Yep.
Even though I don't like the subject matter, I do love the film Lolita. It is a great film. Stanley Kubrick made a great film there. Let's see who else was in that movie. Richard Carlisle is in it. Any other big names I recognize? Oh, Carl Swinson. He is an actor best known for what do you call it? Westerns. Yeah, I'm going to see this movie. Yeah, let's do this. Gallon Hours. Build the list. Check it twice.
Find out who's naughty and nice.
And Attack Force Z is actually on my list. I have that movie. But thank you, Tim. But I will tell you, thanks for the recommendation, but it's already on my list because I like that movie, Attack Force Z. Mel Gibson, young Mel Gibson.
Is that an Aussie war movie?
Hey, look, man, it's the third finger
Maybe.
that makes it work.
Oh.
I think it's time to end this show.
No, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying this. Let's see how filthy this can get.
Oh my.
Yeah,
In the Army, you go through your physical at the beginning. And when we had to have they do the exam and they make you cough and shit. Turn your head to the left and cough. And when I came out, I walked out like my ass was hurting. I was like, oh. And this other guy that was waiting in line, he says, what'd they do? And I said, everything was fine. They check your prostate. I said, and then all of a sudden he says, lean over the table, and he does, and then they have this thing that it's like a mini mag light, and he put it in there, and it didn't hurt until he turned it.
What?
Oh,
That guy
Talking
freaked
about
out. He was scared shitless. He was sweating bullets.
I run for the frickin' hills, man. Yikes.
He does is on my list. Yep, Cavatina, you got that. It is on my list because I want to introduce Anima to one of my favorite World War II films, fictional war films. I do like that film. I don't know, man. Lee Marvin.
Lee Marvin, man. Can't go wrong.
Nothing better, dude. Nothing better. But anyway, I'm going to end the show here. We're going to get the hell out of here. And I want everybody to have a good day. Don't forget, tomorrow is the Chief. And I forgot, what movie is he doing tomorrow again?
The Enforcer.
The Enforcer.
The third one.
Oh!
The third one from Dirty Harry.
That's
See,
the
that's
one
the
with
best
Tyne
stuff,
Daly, right?
God, I can't see
That's
it.
the one with Tyne Daly as his partner
Yep.
from Cagney and Lace.
And they
Yeah.
show you the correct way to use a law rocket. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, pulls her out of the way for the
Come here.
back blast area.
Should have gotten fried.
Prepare
Ready.
to fire, clear the back blast area. We're all taught to yell that shit.
Hell yeah.
Clear the back blast area. And there's a great video. I don't know if YouTube allows it on anymore because it used to be on YouTube. During the Iran-Iraq war, guy got behind a guy about to fire a fucking RPG, and you see him. You don't see what exactly happens, but you know what happened to him.
Yeah.
He's blown apart by the back blast.
Right.
And I was like, a bunch of my veteran buddies were watching it with me. I'm like, holy shit, fucking dumb motherfuckers.
I always laugh my ass off at the Rambo movie where he uses one of those things with all those MIAs in the back of the helicopter, and he shoots down that friggin' Russian Hind with it.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm like, dude, he'd have fried everybody in the back of that friggin' helicopter if he'd have done that.
Which was the dressed up Sikorsky, as I recall. Because they didn't have access to Hinds back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. People in movies and TV, they did the same thing on Supergirl, where on the Kevin Smith episode he directed, they open the back of a van and fire a law out of the back of the van.
Yeah.
And the driver is right behind in the back blast area, and nothing happens to him. I'm like, what a stupid show.
He might have survived it, but he wouldn't have any hair. That's for sure.
Oh, man. It just pissed me off, and I just couldn't watch. I stopped watching right then and there. Right then. At that moment, I stopped the episode and never watched another Supergirl. It was too dumb. But anyway, guys, we're out of here. Don't forget the Chiefs is on tomorrow with the Enforcer, Clint Eastwood. Ooh, can't beat that. Yep. And then Wednesday, more game stuff with John. Thursday,
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep. Keith's going to be doing his thing on Thursday, and then you'll be back again Friday with more games with, again, more cyber.
No, I'm doing I do Baldur's Gate.
On Friday.
Dungeons and Dragons, baby. Yeah.
And then on Friday, I don't know yet. We have something planned, but I'm trying to get my buddy Kevin Kepi. He is the other tall, skinny monster actor. He plays.
Well, we have our two Halloween specials on Thursday and on Friday.
I forgot about that. We got those. It's gonna be fun. So Thursday is going to be Thursday afternoon. We're going to have Frank LaLoggia. He's not just a Logia; he's a La Logia. And then we have Dick Dizelle this Friday. That's right. That's this Friday. Is that this Friday?
Yes, it is.
It is?
No, it is this week, 26th and 27th.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. All right, guys. We're the fuck out of here.
Bye, guys.
Everybody's heard about the bird.